What's up?
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
The real question that everybody's waiting to answer is, does Mark Levin actually have a micro penis?
And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
That'll go down as the question of our generation. Megyn Kelly says yes. Marjorie Taylor Greene back confirms that. Trump tried to defend him by saying he's a really nice man. All right, we got to start Facebook, guys. Tomorrow's a trip. You guys excited to go with us to Nashville? Or no? You're like, fuck it. I don't give a fuck what this guy's doing. Fat ass. I don't know. You in, you out, chat. You in, you out. Hard for me to tell, to be honest with you. I feel like you guys don't support me. And if you really were my true supporters, you would go to Bert@BertLynch.com and send me hundreds of dollars right now. Okay? Maybe I just shut down the show until someone shows me monetarily that they love me as much as I love them. I hate to put a number on it, but there's a number. Okay? And that number is big. So remember that. The number is big. It's a big number. I'll let you know when you hit it. Don't worry.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible.
I had to wait for Itsuko to let me go live.
And I'm just like very intrigued. But you know
You
what
guys
I'm
noticed
most
that or not?
intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I am Will Bird, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. We are on the eve of Nash Vegas. That's right. Headed to Nashville tomorrow. Atsuko told me I'm not allowed to live stream there, and I have to wait on her to get approved, so we'll have to see. You just walked into my intro. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. That's Linda Binda. She's a big fan of the show. Mark Levin has a micro penis, and people are fighting about it, apparently. Megyn Kelly calls out Mark Levin, says, oh, he's got a micro penis. Donald Trump comes to defend him. Not really the defense you want, right? When someone says you have a micro penis, the defense you want is, oh, no, he doesn't. He has a whopping penis. Trump comes out and says, hey, Mark Levin is a nice guy. And people that are dumber than him are trying to attack him. He doesn't refute the micro penis claim. I think that's the problem with being defended by Trump. We want somebody to come in and be like, nope, I've seen it. It's huge. And Trump's probably not the greatest judge of size anyways. Have you fucking seen the shoes he guessed for everybody? He bought everybody's shoes and guessed their sizes, and they're all fucking too big and too small. Fucking Marco Rubio looks like he's fucking swimming in his shoes. Oh, just a second. Got to take the crazy pills. Hold on just a second. Hold on. Marco Rubio. So Trump decided, as a nice thing for everybody, he was going to buy everybody shoes, okay? And he just looks at their feet and guesses their sizes, okay? So this is what he put Marco Rubio in. Look at that motherfucker. Look at that. It's about 4 sizes too big. Look at all this room back here. Look how they stick out around his pants. Marco Rubio's probably an 8.5. He's got him in a 13. This is all because he bought somebody shoes the other day and they mentioned it and he got praise for buying people. He's like, what size shoe you wear? I'm going to get you some shoes. I got a shoe guy. So now he's buying everybody in the administration's shoes. None of them fit. Let's see if I can find the article. Marco Rubio pictured in a $145 Trump shoe that doesn't fit as cabinet scared is to take them off. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was pictured wearing a pair of $145 Forsham shoes gifted to him by President Donald Trump, which appeared to be too big for his feet. I'm sure that's probably a brand that I should know. I don't. The Times reported that Rubio, Vice President J.D. Vance, and all the male members of the cabinet wore the same style of footwear. MAGA allies Sean Hannity, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, Tucker Carlson, and White House Deputy Chief of Staff James Blair are also said to have received a pair of the shoes. It was reported that the president likes to open each cabinet meeting by asking people whether they are enjoying their incredible new shoes. And did you get the shoes, he would ask. All the boys have them, a female White House official said. It's hysterical because everybody's afraid not to wear them because he asks about them every time he sees them. According to the outlet, the president likes to enclose a personal note in each pair he sends. Vance recalled one interaction between himself, Trump, and Rubio and an unnamed politician. The president holds up his hand and says, No. Hold on a second. There's something much more important. Shoes, Vance recalled. He peers over the Resolute desk and he says, Marco, JD, you guys have shitty shoes. We got to get you some better shoes. It just says S and then blanked out. I'm guessing Florsheim. Thank you. He goes out and grabs a catalog. There happens to be another politician in the room. He actually runs us through this incredible shoe catalog. Vance continued. The president is gifting us with 4 pairs of shoes each. He says, Marco, what's your shoe size? And Marco's apparently an 11.5. Vance adds. He says, JD, what's your shoe size? My shoe size is 13. Of course, he had to be bigger than Rubio. And he asked the politician, who I won't embarrass, what his shoe size is, and he says 7. Concludes Vance. The president, he kind of leans back in his chair and he says, you know, you can tell a lot about a man by his shoe size. The president reportedly estimates people's shoe sizes in front of them and subsequently has an aide submit the order. The White House maintains that Trump personally covers the cost of the shoes and a week later dispatches a brown Florsheim shoebox bearing his signature and occasionally a note. Sources tell the Wall Street Journal they heard a cabinet secretary grumbling about feeling pressured to set aside their Louis Vuitton shoes to wear Florsheims when they visit the White House, as those who receive a pair from the president feel compelled to wear them in his presence. The American Footwear Company, reasonably priced compared to other dress shoe manufacturers, was established in 1892 in Chicago by German immigrant Sigmund Florsheim and his son Milton. Florsheim was established in 1892 in Chicago by German immigrant alongside his son Milton. Oh, I don't know why they put that in there twice. American troops wore the brand's shoes during both World War I and World War II. President Harry Truman wore the shoes. Michael Jackson made his loafers legendary with his famous moonwalk. According to the reports, the president became enamored with Florsheim brand late last year while hunting for footwear that would provide greater comfort and after a full workday. It is still not clear why Trump was seeking out a different shoe brand, but the president has rejected compression socks that might alleviate his chronic venous insufficiency, a medical condition causing swelling in the calves and ankles. In January, Trump told the Journal that he had briefly tried to wear the medical compression socks, but discontinued use because he didn't like them. So everybody's so afraid of this man and being put on the shit list, being truthed or tweeted about, and being demoted to the brand ambassador for the American Captain America shield or whatever they fucking put Kristi Noem on, that they just wear his big-ass shoes around all day. They keep him in his car, and they keep him in their car wearing their regular shoes, and when they think they're going to run into his dumb ass, they throw those shoes on. Uh-oh. I wear a 12 wide shoe if J.D. Vance has a size 13 foot. I'll suck my own dick stream. Well, I do think he's bragging. He gave himself the biggest shoe size. I think he's lying. I think it's cap. I wear a size 13, but I have like gigantic feet, and you can tell just like looking at pictures and shit, right? I think we would have noticed J.D. Vance's giant fucking feet. Very weird. But that's why you don't let Trump judge the size of your micro penis. Thank you for the donation, by the way. No audio. I caught it. I caught it. Shut up. Shut up. Don't tell me in the chat. Don't tell me. I caught it.
It is hard not to laugh at how dumb these people are. Poor Megyn Kelly, an emotionally unhinged, lewd, and petulant wreck. She's completely revealed and destroyed herself. She's everything people say she is, but much worse. Never an intelligent, thoughtful, or substantive comment. Utterly toxic. So then Megyn Kelly comes in
JD Vance is 6'2", I think.
from the top rope and pulls
6'1", 6'2".
micro penis Mark at Mark.
That's what he tells the public. I don't know. He's probably around 6 foot. Micro penis Mark Levin show, thinks he has a monopoly on lewd. He tweets about me obsessively in the crudest, nastiest terms possible. By the way, Mark Levin is the one that told the general public to shut the fuck up about Epstein, by the way. He thinks he has a monopoly on lewd. He tweets about me obsessively in the crudest, nastiest terms possible. Literally, more than some stalkers I've had arrested. He doesn't like it when women like me fight back because of his micro penis.
Utterly toxic. So then Megyn Kelly comes in from the top rope and pulls no punches. She says, micro penis Mark at Mark Levin show, thinks he has the monopoly on lewd. He tweets about me obsessively in the crudest, nastiest terms possible. Literally more than some stalkers I've had arrested. He doesn't like it when women like me fight back because of his micro penis. Wow. Megyn Kelly then doubles down this morning at 5 a.m. and says,
I don't think Trump is 6'1", but even JD Vance only claims to be 6'2".
down this morning at 5 a.m. and says, micro penis at Mark Levin show is such a small man. He had to go beg the president for a pat on the head in the middle of the war to make himself feel better about, well, you know, and we're going to
So he goes to Trump and gets Trump to defend him. Micro penis Mark Levin is such a small man, he had to go beg President Trump for a pat on the head in the middle of the war to make himself feel better about, well, you know, this after one mean tweet about him following his 111 nasty, nonstop, personal, misogynistic attacks on me. Fox has an obsessed harasser on its hands. Just like all the feckless, weakling bullies, Micro can dish it out, but he can't take it. After just one post, the so-called great one, in his place, he ran crying to daddy.
small man. Megyn Kelly then he doesn't like it when women like me fight back because of his micro penis. Wow. Megyn Kelly then doubles down this morning at 5 a.m. and says, micro penis at Mark Levin show is such a small man. He had to go
Trump claims he's 6'3".
beg the president for a pat on the head in the middle of the war.
You think that's why he made JD Vance claim he was 6'2"? So he's the tallest person? But Trump wears lifts and everything. So, hard to say. Every time I see them, Vance is taller, but Trump claims to the media he's 6'3", and JD Vance claims he's 6'2", so.
Or make himself feel better about, well, you know. And we're going to show you the Trump tweet in 1 second, but isn't that crazy? Is it not absurd that the president of the United States, amidst a war that he started, is defending his friend from
Mark Levin, a truly great American patriot, is somewhat under siege by other people with far less intellect, capability, and love for our country. Mark is tough, strong, and brilliant. By the way, I'm sure Mark Levin appreciates all these, but why couldn't you just say he has a giant whopping penis? Tough, strong, and brilliant. Hence the nickname, The Great One, conceived by our MAGA friend, the wonderful Sean Hannity, after years of dealing with Mark in legal, media, and other capacities. He just capitalizes random fucking words. Mark would often do Sean's show, speaking as a lawyer, and Sean realized then, as others did, that he was special. Mark Levin was not looking to do television, radio, or anything, but he was drafted by very smart people who understood that there are few like him. He is truly a conservative, an intellect, far smarter than those who criticize him, but above all, he is a man of great wisdom and common sense who truly loves our country. When you hear others unfairly attack Mark, remember that they are jealous and angry human beings whose sway is much less than the public understands and will, now they know where I stand, rapidly diminish. By the way, if someone's public sway is less than their sway can't be less than the people understand. The people understand it, right? The people understand it, and that's their sway. It can't be less than people think because that's what it is. It's their public opinion. Other than for his wonderful wife and family, Mark Levin only cares and wants one thing: greatness and success for America. Those that speak ill of Mark will quickly fall by the wayside, as do the people whose idea, policies, and footings are not sound. They are not MAGA. I am. And MAGA includes not allowing Iran, a sick, demented, and violent terrorist regime, to have a nuclear weapon to blow up the United States of America, the Middle East, and ultimately the rest of the world. MAGA is about stopping them cold, and that is exactly what we are doing. God bless our great military, which I have rebuilt since the beginning of my first term to achieve everlasting peace through strength, make America great again. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. If I was still MAGA, I'll tell you one thing that I would be pissed about, right? If I was still on the Trump train, the fact that MAGA is not Trump, and him trying to say it's just whatever I decide it is, that's not true. Clearly, it was a movement. It had ideas. It was about the little guy. It was about making America successful. For some reason, it was about bringing back shitty jobs that no one liked when we had them, like factory worker jobs and shit. But it had a direction. It's not just whatever Trump thinks today. That would piss me off.
Is defending his friend from micropenis allegations. We're joking here, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene then pops out this morning and says, I wholeheartedly support Megyn Kelly telling the world that Mark Levin has a micropenis. Okay, why are they saying?
I wholeheartedly support Megyn Kelly telling the world that Mark Levin has a micropenis. Again, I keep finding myself agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's the most deserved insult, and I don't care if it's vulgar. And Trump's gigantic defense of Levin only enraged the base more. People are done. MAGA destroyed by micropenis Mark Levin.
With so much certainty. What the hell? MAGA destroyed by micropenis Mark Levin. I've said those words too.
By the way, Megyn Kelly says disagree. This is a response to somebody else. Disagree. You can take the high road and ignore for a while, but eventually, after hundreds of tweets and attacks, you punch the bully in the rhetorical face. And then he goes running to daddy about his micropenis. It is weird that suddenly Trump's like, he had to reach out to Trump and say, did you see what they're doing to me on Twitter?
Over the past 10 minutes. Okay, then Trump hops in.
I'll fix it.
Mark Levin, a truly great American patriot. I'm sorry, I can't take this seriously after the micropenis allegations. Is somewhat under siege by other people with far less intellect, capability, and love for our country.
At least in MAGA is getting fucked by a micropenis. It won't hurt that bad.
Mark is tough, strong, brilliant, hence the nickname, the Great One.
Oh, Megyn Kelly did not see the light, right? She's still wholeheartedly a Trump supporter. It's just that she's an anti-Israel Trump supporter now.
I've heard from Mark Levin. I've heard the small one. Okay, I'm done. Mark Levin was not looking to do television, radio, or anything else. Okay, goddamn, no.
Anti-Iran war, I think.
We asked for Mark Levin's life story after he got called micropenis Mark. Mark Levin then says, Mr. President.
I am beyond humbled by your words and graciousness in writing such a beautiful note and sharing it on Truth Social. I'm honored that you took the time to write it. Would you look at my penis, please, sir, and guesstimate its size? I hear you oversize everything. Your courage, strength, and moral clarity are truly unparalleled, and your leadership has made our country and the world much safer. Both you and what you are doing deserve our support. I will not be intimidated to bow to threats. Through your insight and steady hand, America has been made great again. It is an enormous honor, not that big though, to know you as my family, and I do and call you, Mr. President, our friend. You are one of a kind, truly remarkable. Be safe and God bless. But if you just do this, hold on. I'm old enough to remember Mark Levin, so give me just a second. I wouldn't call it an enormous honor. It's probably a micro honor, but still. Micro honor, I just met her. Whatever. That was a stupid joke. Starting a press conference where they just lay there. Oh, I got the vote. I wouldn't doubt it.
We can't waste our time on.
This is Mark Levin talking.
Can't waste our time on Epstein and other stuff that are going on here that some people want us to focus on. I'm about had it with all that stuff. We better focus on who we are, what we're doing, where we want to take the country, and what they want to do to the country. Mr. Speaker, God bless you.
He's telling Mike Johnson that people need to stop asking any questions about Epstein.
I appreciate
We're done.
Very much.
You too, Mark. Thanks for all you do. God bless.
Just Google Ryan Grimm micropenis. After Megyn Kelly called Mark Levin that, even setting off Ryan's group chat, a high school friend posted in our group chat, Brian is now involved in a national micropenis debate. What? Who is Ryan Graham micropenis?
About it here, but you can go. We didn't get to cover the micro penis debate that I triggered.
That's right. That was you. That's right. Somebody.
I was telling Emily, a high school friend posted to a little group chat. Ryan is now involved in a national micro penis debate.
He is.
Look that one up.
Just Google Ryan Graham micro penis.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about it here, but you can go search that.
Yeah, just type that in.
No.
You know, we could have talked about it in the Greenblatt segment, though, because it's the same.
It is, yes.
It's the same concept. Just attacking people for retweeting Ryan, which, listen, when Ryan and I first started hosting together, I got it all the time.
That's Ryan Graham from Breaking Points.
So if you're doing the guilt by association thing,
whatever. There is a thing here. Here's some of the stuff that Mark Levin has said about Megyn Kelly. Pull Megyn Kelly, an emotional, unhinged, lewd, and petulant wreck. She's completely revealed and destroyed herself. She's everything people say she is, but much worse. Never intelligent, thoughtful, or substantive. Comment, utterly toxic. This was on March 15th. Anytime she goes against Trump is when they come after her, or Israel. March 12th, Kelly is such a psycho. What a hideous piece of shit. March 10th, Kelly is evil, narcissistic lunatic. That sums it up. March 10th, Megyn Kelly is a serial liar and psychopath. March 7th, this evil witch is one of the most despised pieces of shit in the country. Close call among her, Carlson, which is what they're calling Tucker Carlson now, and Taron Kelly. March 5th, Father Coughlin had from 30 to 45 million weekly radio listeners in his day. Taron Kelly has much in common with him. He flamed out and to this day is denounced as a loathsome bigot who gave aid and comfort to the enemy. I predict that's your last career path. December 23rd, Megyn Kelly is a disgusting fraud and hateful propagandist. She need not condemn Candace Owens. She is Candace Owens. November 21st. No, Megyn, I was calling you a grifter. You've revealed yourself. You also have the mouth of a lowlife, very limited vocabulary. Are you having a nervous breakdown? November 20th. Now, Megyn. Serial line is not a great trait, Megyn, but you are a crackpot. Again, I want to encourage you to get help. So that's just from back in November. Like, obviously, yeah, I guess he's calling him that because it's a whole thing where they claim Tucker Carlson got information from Joe Kent and then released it and blah, blah, blah. There's a clip that I wanted to show you. If I can find it.
Trump is operating in the tradition of our greatest peacetime
Mark Levin again.
Presidents. Despite the outrageous media coverage in this country, despite the constant efforts under Operation Sabotage by a Democrat Party that is hell-bent on losing this war, that is hell-bent on undermining the commander-in-chief, that is hell-bent on undermining...
He was a never-Trumper before Trump, by the way. Also, when Trump went to jail, when Trump was in jail, remember when Micropenis Mark went on a rampage screaming at billionaires to pony up for Trump's legal bill? He wanted billionaires to come in, and Trump had a $454 million he had to pay in restitution and whatever, all to the court. And he wanted billionaires. He was demanding billionaires come pay it for him to save the nation.
Funding our armed forces, and yes, is giving aid and comfort, propaganda to the enemy, as are individuals who I call the woke right neo-fascists, who are stirring the anti-Semitism.
Basically, if you don't support Israel, boots on the ground in Iran, and doing whatever Israel wants, you're a far-right neo-Nazi.
Who are stirring the track...
Or woke right. You're either left or you're woke right neo-Nazi.
Christian pot. They are no different than the same voices we heard in the 1930s, and just as disgusting, evil, and reprehensible.
There you go, the 30s.
Talk about this war wasn't imminent. Why did we decide now? All this talk about what is the mission. All of this is used to try and obstruct, undermine, dispirit, and divide this nation. At a time when Donald Trump is doing what great presidents do. Shame on you, Democrats, for what you are doing to this country. You will be
shame on you.
Forever. You will remember as the isolationists of the 1930s. Shame on you, woke right neo-fascists. You will be remembered as the unpatriotic, anti-American Jew haters that you are, I ask you, what do you think Jefferson and Madison would do in these circumstances today? What do you think
I wonder what his religion is.
Franklin Roosevelt would do in these circumstances today? Or Abraham Lincoln or George Washington or even Ronald Reagan?
When he first got his show?
What do you think they would do? They would.
I think they've all just basically turned to grift. They just grift now, right? That's what they do. We just went back and counted this from Megyn Kelly. We just went back and counted. Micropenis Mark Levin has shit posted about me over 100 times since November. I've responded to a total of 6 times. Start with asking him to tone it down, saying he's going to get someone killed. In response, he amped up his attacks tenfold in the nastiest, most personal, misogynistic, vile terms possible on his show and on X. Fox News allows this. Micro P is obsessed. It's sick. Too long didn't read. Mark Levin has a micropenis confirmed. They're sharing Trump's post and saying he has a micropenis confirmed. Oh, this is a video. Did she say something about it?
Look,
hold on.
I'm all for taking the high road, and I did try. But after 111 tweets, increasing the security profile in my own life, and attacking me in the most vile terms, I think anybody could see that I was entitled to one below-the-belt punch. Right? When they go low, we go micropenis. That's the way it's going to be. At least insofar as that bully is concerned. And
hey, if he's a grower, I feel for him. Like, I've impressed some ladies. I am not a shower, okay? But I grow with the best of them.
Sure enough, he didn't know what to do. He went crying to the president, who's running a war right now. Not to mention the country. It's crazy that this happened. And Trump sent out a truth late last night. I'll read to you in part, calling Mark Levin a truly great American patriot. He's somewhat under siege by other people with far less intellect, capability, and love for our country. Mark is tough, strong.
Megyn Kelly is extremely smart. She is a grifter. I believe a lot of the really smart people on the right are. Remember when I drew that where we had like these fucking pundits and highly educated and within the administration, within politics, within the news media, they know that they're lying to the dumb Americans, right? And there's a separation. Like, they'll tell you college is for suckers, send all their kids to college. They'll tell you vaccines cause autism, get all the kids vaccinated, right? They're telling you not to worry about anything. They got a doomsday bunker. That's the separate. They know they're lying. And then you have this weird floating in the middle people, which is like the alt media. And most of them have been brainwashed by the same Fox News and Megyn Kelly and people that you're watching, but they actually believe it, which is scary because they might mobilize those beliefs.
And brilliant. I mean, if he's so tough, Mr. President, query why you're fighting his battle. That's why they call him the Great One. Sean Hannity realized it. He was special. Mark's a true conservative and has intellect. He's far smarter than those who criticize him. Above all, he's a man of great wisdom and common sense who truly loves our country. When you hear others unfairly attack Mark, remember, they are jealous and angry.
I can give you 8 inches if we do cumulative sessions. It'll take me 4 times, okay? Just add it together.
Human beings whose sway is much less than the public understands and will, now that they know where I stand, rapidly diminish. This is Trump. He firmly believes that if he criticizes you,
don't hold me to that,
or anybody, that we will have no more audience left. I mean, I have 10 years to show that's not true. Now, yet, are there some who will say, okay, the president's mad at you, I'm out? I guess so, but I feel like those people left me long ago because...
To date, I've given Mariah 163 miles. If anybody's keeping check, to date, 163 miles.
And yes, sycophant, no. And, we've sparred many, many times. Again, he's not naming me, but I think
it would be a bigger number, but I subtract when you use the back door, right? It's like 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of deal.
It's fair to say this is about me. It's about Tucker, and it's about some of Mark's critics on the right. Let's see. Those that speak ill of Mark will quickly fall by the wayside, as do people whose ideas, policies, and footings are not sound. They're not MAGA. I am. And MAGA includes not allowing...
That pisses me off, and I'm not MAGA. Right? Him claiming that he is the only... Which is sort of true. Like, when he dies, I think they'll all fight against each other, and it'll splinter out. But if I believed in the actual cause, he's changing the cause and then saying, well, I am the cause.
Iran, blah, 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 to have a nuclear weapon. So
he's going for speed.
If you speak ill of Mark Levin, that's where we are. That doesn't hurt me at all. I've not been part of the MAGA movement. Again, I will stay MAGA adjacent, which is where I am happily. But he is going to further destroy his own coalition if he continues with this. Oh, and by the way, then Mark Levin retweeted it. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I mean, that's what you do when you have a micropenis. You can't just fight your own battles, and then you have to retweet your praise from the president, trying to redeem you as not having one. I'm like, can you imagine anything more emasculating? I'm so horrified by the whole sequence of events.
Mark Levin and his micro penis. We can finish this, I guess.
I am beyond humbled by your words and graciousness in writing such a beautiful note and sharing it on Truth Social. Dude, come on. We've got two grown men in power with a lot of political power banding together because Mark Levin's feelings were hurt by Megyn Kelly calling him micro penis Mark. This is an absurd series of events. This is a new low even for the MAGA sphere.
It is pretty bad. All right, look. If you watched last night's show, you all know I spent way too much time covering Afro Man. Right? Everybody knows that. Oh, the whole show is Afro Man. Oh, wait, before we move on, here's Alex Jones.
Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro.
Shut up, Itsuko. God damn. Afro Man said, your people taste like shrimp fried rice. So, what do you think about that?
President Trump's coming to the defense of Mark Levin today on Truth Social is extremely troubling because of what he says there. First off, he implies that it's these evil, terrible people that aren't MAGA that are attacking him and that Trump's coming to his aid. Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, and others have been all over the conservative circuit, CPAC, their own shows, Keep USA, saying Tucker Carlson is not MAGA, Alex Jones is not MAGA, and listing other people that are supposed to be excommunicated. Well, let's just get one thing straight here. I was around a lot longer than Trump.
Oh, yeah, that's what I like. I like to give, you may not like my videos, you may not watch them all, you may get bored and half fall asleep, but when you go to somebody else's stream and they start talking about a subject, you can be like, look here, motherfucker, nope, that's not what here's what happened, then this, then that, then they said this, and if you type this in, you'll find that. That's right. Well informed about your micro penis.
And I've never been MAGA. I'm 1776. I've supported the aims of Make America Great Again so far, but now those
Wait, you've never been MAGA? Bullshit. I'm 1776.
definitions are changing, but what Trump's really doing here is attacking his critics. He doesn't want to say, don't attack me in the Iran war. He wants to say, is attacking his critics. He doesn't want to say, don't attack me in the Iran war. He wants to say, leave Mark Levin alone. He's the litmus test when he's calling for censorship and all the rest of it, people like Tucker Carlson and myself. Or I will say that you're not part of our movement. Well, Trump, you don't have to worry about that. People are already very upset with you and already basically understanding that your legacy is being destroyed by you breaking your promise about this war and a lot of the other things you've done, like no real prosecutions of the deep state. So if you want to continue to self-inflict wounds on your own name and on political dynasty, I'm sad about that, but that's your life. You can do it. We're going to stay true to our populist, conservative, nationalist, Christian ideas that you wrote in on.
By the way, Mark Levin has just been retweeting brown people like who's it? Cenk Uygur, the Persian Jesus, Jank again, Dean Cain, Mehdi Hassan. He's just been retweeting those people over on Twitter and saying deport. Oh, sweet. Q Idiot's here.
That we launched. I've been promoting these issues for 30 plus years. Mark Levin.
Thank you for becoming a member.
Trumpers and attacked you. And I've seen Lindsey Graham, say, screw Donald Trump. Donald Trump, go to hell. But that's who you've chosen now, and their worldview more and more. You're ignoring Kennedy, saying we're going to give glyphosate, protection, Roundup, and so many other things you're starting to break with why we voted for you. Now, still, you're better than the Democrats. So I don't hate you. I still promote the good things you do. But when you say, hey, if you criticize Mark Levin, that's a litmus test. You're by the wayside. You're a failure. You're in the dustbin of history. That's a neocon talking point of Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro. They're the ones that have almost no viewers or listeners anymore. They're the ones that are incredibly unpopular. And if you think taking on their political views is the right thing to do or it's going to help you, then we can't stop you. But I've seen Mark Levin say a few months ago, people like Tucker Carlson and the rest of you think if you're going to stop us with your little podcast, we'll do anything it takes to.
So you remember when people were saying, hey, like, Make America Great Again is really walking a fine line of becoming just like a racist thing to say to people, right? Because you're only saying it to brown people. Clearly you have some type of intention in mind. We know the beliefs behind it. The thought, the process, the idea of making the country of America great is not racist. But everything behind it is kind of like, whoa, where are you going with this? Deportations. You yell it at brown people and black people. You yell it at deportate. You yell at all these crazy things, right? Now the pro-Israel lobby is claiming the people that are like, I'm not, this. I'm not MAGA. I'm America First or whatever. They're claiming that that's anti-Semitic.
Blah, blah, blah. It's open threats. Now you have the head of the ADL a few days ago literally say, we'll play it a moment coming up here on my syndicated show. I'm also posting this clip to X. I'll post that clip under it. Greenblatt came out and said, you saw the great genius of us with the pagers and all the other operations killing our enemies. We need to do that in America in our 8-front war. So it's not just censorship and debanking and the ADL having meetings saying arrest me years ago. Now, let's have criminal referrals for Tucker Carlson, claiming because he's talking to Iranians during a war, which is a journalist's job, he's working for a foreign country, which they say is illegal. Well, Tucker isn't working for a foreign country, but you represent a foreign country, Israel. You have members of Congress wearing IDF uniforms during their votes. I mean, it's being flaunted. And so, by attacking anybody as anti-Semitic that disagrees with total war with Iran, you guys have set the parameters now to basically define it as that. And you're only kind of conjuring the monster you claim that you fear. But the truth is, the head of the ADL also said in the same speech, we've never had more business. We've never had more support for the Jewish community. Yeah, because the policies of
Mark Levin was a never-Trumper, 100%.
Yahoo and others are incredibly unpopular and are creating a backlash. Then you call everybody anti-Semites, and now you define this new huge enemy you have, so you get more power, more control, more funds, and you can play victim more. Just like Mark Levin running to Trump.
So was Ben Shapiro.
Sean Hannity, they're being mean to me. They're saying bad things. Myself, Tucker Carlson, we're not saying anything bad about you, other than the fact that you're trying to censor and control people and then run and play victim. And now you called on your daddy Trump to come and say, ooh, you won't be in the cool kids anymore. You won't be able to sit at the cool table at lunch. In junior high, if you're not cool. Well, here's a newsflash. When I was in junior high, I was dating high school girls. When I was in high school, I was dating college girls. I was never in the lunchroom because my college girlfriend was picking me up at lunch. And we were pulling around the woods and having lunch, you know what I mean? So it's the same analogy now. I don't want to be at your cool table, which is really the short bus of politics, okay? We're the avant-garde, we're the cutting edge, and I don't want to be at the table with Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro, self-appointed control freak jokes, or Benjamin Netanyahu. And I'm not with the Muslims, and I'm not with Ilhan Omar, and I'm not with the Iranians. Got it? Not with that, and not with you. I'm an American. And I'm sick of this crap. And we have a lot of the Jewish lobby running around trying to censor Americans because what you're doing is unpopular, and your answer is to double down. That's not going to work. But if Trump wants to sign his political fortunes onto you, and that's what he thinks, and he thinks promoting Mark Levin as a litmus test, you better support him or I don't support you, good then. Make it cut and dry and clear. You already ran off Massey. You already ran off MTV.
All right, so check this out. Trump famously doesn't like people to touch him. He's kind of a germaphobe. He doesn't really like shaking hands that much. Instead, he likes to jerk people around. He likes to big brother people. Have you ever, in your life, seen someone handle Trump like this? I think Mark Levin's got something on Trump. You ever seen anybody handle Trump like this?
6 years ago, I was up here, and I said, this is our first Jewish president. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged.
6 years ago, I was up here.
He's the first Jewish president.
And I said, this is our first Jewish president. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged.
Lets him fucking grab him, lets him shake him, lets him do all this stuff. Trump doesn't like anybody fucking touching him. Mark Levin owns his ass somehow. Mark Levin on April 9th, 2016. Mark Levin, I would never vote Trump. That's a headline from an article he wrote. He was a never Trumper. He actually threatened to get all his listeners to not vote for Trump as well. All right. Anyways, let's do Afro Man. I know I covered too much Afro Man yesterday. The whole show was Afro Man. Got it? But some very funny things have happened in the Afro Man world. Okay? Very, very funny things. Day 2 was wild. Okay? The only witness for the defense was this guy's ex-wife.
So people have come up to you and asked you if you were a thief.
I've had phone calls and I've had it happen.
When was the first time that happened? To you personally during your career?
In my entire career?
Yes.
I never had anything until this came about.
You never had anybody ask?
So he said he's never had anybody ever say anything to him about him being a thief ever in his entire career.
About being a thief and when your wife was charged with theft?
No.
Ooh. Your wife was charged with theft and no one said anything to you about possibly being a thief or getting her off or, helping her out? Nothing? Nope.
When your wife pled guilty to stealing from her employer?
Tell me why you would do that to the jury.
Your Honor, I would ask this. Your Honor, I'm asking a question that builds on his reputation. He says he has never been called a thief before, yet he keeps saying that everybody treats him differently.
Hell yeah, that sounds just like Afro Man. I'm becoming a bigger fan than I was back when Afro Man was relevant.
This goes to his reputation.
He's smearing the fuck out of his local police. He's going to have to move. His baby mama going to have to move.
This has happened before. To say that this is the only thing...
Isn't it weird that he keeps 2 safes in his baby mama's house and she doesn't have the combination to them?
...causing the problem has ever hurt his reputation. He's opening up the door so that I can ask the question about what's affecting his reputation.
See it. So I'm going to allow this so you can see how it does or does not affect him alone. Just don't get caught up that your spouse's character is your character, because it's not.
So restating the question, Mr. Eastep, your wife did steal from her employer, correct?
Yes.
Ooh, that is a long time to answer, dude. Answer quick, even bad question. That looks bad for the jury. So let me rephrase the question. Your wife was caught stealing from her employer, correct? Yes. That is too long, bro.
Stating the question, Mr. Eastep, your wife did steal from her employer, correct?
Yes.
Ooh.
And it was a felony sum of money, correct?
Yes.
Which is over $1,000.
Yes.
And you were part of the search of Mr. Foreman's residence, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever have any contact?
You guys have not even seen the funniest one. You guys have not seen the funniest one.
I noticed some money in a coat pocket, and I pointed it out to
Womp womp.
Newland.
And is that the money that Mr. Newland testified earlier that was upstairs?
That should have been some of it, yes. I didn't do the collection of it.
I think
You
they
just
should.
pointed it out in the pocket.
Yes.
Another officer took it out of the pocket.
I assume.
Okay. Do you remember which officer you pointed it out to?
I told Detective Newland.
So people have come up to you and asked you if you were a thief.
I've had phone calls, and I've had.
All right, so let me go to another. I think it's not a lawyer. There's some funny parts in it. We're not gonna mark the whole thing. But there's some fucking very funny parts in this case. So they get this woman up on the stand.
So
That's one of the cops' ex-wives.
Posts about Sean or any of the general posts about the Adams County Sheriff's Department as a whole affected your life any at all?
No.
Would you believe it would have affected your life while you were married to Sean?
If it had any effect, I guess that would be the time it would have an effect.
But as his spouse, you would have expected it.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't want you to go into too many details, but is it fair to say that Mr. Foreman, the posts about the police department, everything had not a damn thing to do with your relationship between you and Sean and why it came to an end?
No, it did not.
So the cop claims that his wife left him over Afro Man's song, by the way. Then we find out that he's just fucking a bunch of women on the job to get them out of tickets and shit, or drug possession stuff.
So the posts never affected your life, never affected your marriage?
No.
Okay. So any statement to the contrary would be false?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're thinking, Will, this is crazy, but I guarantee you they didn't ask her about her wet-ass pussy, you'd be wrong.
Thank you very much. No further questions at this time, Your Honor. So, performance music from time to time?
They do.
You've worked with kids for how long?
30 years.
You've got into the mind of kids pretty well.
Yes.
When they would play Mr. Foreman's song Lemon Pound Cake, did they take that as a literal fact from your observations?
No.
Were they laughing and joking about it?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Are you familiar with the song WAP?
What do you mean, what's my problem?
I think I've heard
Sorry,
it.
no, strike that. I'm going to give you the complete song and then summarize it.
WAP, wonder what that stands for.
I want to say it once. Are you familiar with
the lawyer says, I'm going to give you the name of the song, but I'm only going to say it once.
I'm going to give you the complete song and then summarize it because I only want to say it once. Are you familiar with the song Wet Ass Pussy?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the little ditty they call Wet Ass pussy. Like the weird pause between pussy. What is going on?
Familiar with the song Wet Ass Pussy?
Yes,
Is that a rap song?
it is.
Has your students played it in class?
Of course they have. Need a bucket and a mop.
Once, and I asked them to please turn it off.
When they were listening to it,
That haircut does not scream wet ass pussy. That haircut screams abandoned, dry like the desert, and possibly sealed shut with mortar.
they think that was fact.
No,
So they didn't think that that was depicting anything in real life?
no.
Of course it. What? They didn't think that wet ass pussy had anything to do with anything in real life. What are they, Ben Shapiro? That sounds like maybe you should see your doctor.
So you didn't have to teach them that wasn't real?
Right. No, I did not.
Seems she would fit in on one of those video dating fucking clip videos from like the fucking 80s or whatever. I'm Rhonda, and I'm looking for a man with a gigantic boat.
You've heard the song, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you believe it's a literal?
D.O.B.
No.
Would you agree it's derogatory towards women?
No.
Even though it says nasty things about them?
Yeah. No. I mean, it's the artist's opinion. I guess that's the way I feel.
Maybe not an opinion you like, but
Rhonda's killing it, bro.
So,
by the way, Afro Man, it was found not guilty on here it is. Hold on.
With regard to decorum, I don't expect any responses from anybody. It's been an emotional case. It's been a well-tried case. The lawyers do what they should do. The parties do what they should do. I just want to remind everybody that how the verdict comes out isn't something of public comment. So if you have an emotional attachment to the verdict, don't express it. Wait till you get out of the building before you let your emotions out. So the verdict forms are properly executed.
Fawcett is spelled with a U.
Made available.
There, legend.
Parties.
Think Fawcett.
Circumstances, the jury finds in favor of the defendant. No plaintiff verdict prevailed. So the matter will be concluded with defense verdicts. Thank you, Mr. Klingler. Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Thank you to the court staff and the Sheriff's Department for security in the building. And we'll go ahead and stand adjourned.
It wouldn't be guilty because it's not a criminal trial, right? But they found in favor of the defendant.
You're welcome.
God, I wish he'd have put a pick in his head. I love his suit for court. That's the perfect suit for court in America. His lawyer's not bad either. He makes pretty decent arguments, which Afro Man's got money, I'm assuming. He better still be getting a shit ton of royalties. Because I got high. Because I got high.
I love picking on Joe. He's a good sport for it. Look at that suit. Does this look like a man who thinks that everybody's going to assume that everything he's saying is fact? I mean, he's like a comedian. He exaggerates for the sake of entertainment. That's who he is. I'm not going to say it's tasteful to everyone, but some people do find it entertaining. I asked an important question about that.
He was going to shed a tear. He didn't actually say, he was going to shed a tear, but then he got high.
I said, do you believe everything in the newspaper? No. Do you believe everything you read on the internet? No. We all know that to be true.
He was going to chug a beer.
People can post opinions, social commentary, and hurtful things all over the internet. And it is just to be expected. That's why we are supposed to use our own filter, use our common sense, use our experiences in life. So while hurtful, it was not fact. It was music, entertainment. Stuff that no reasonable...
Something about green eggs and ham, I think.
Especially not a public official, because we see it on TV all the time. We see it on the internet. You see it on Facebook. Sometimes people want to turn off Facebook because there's so much political commentary and stuff. But that's expected. Do I expect everything I read is fact? I don't even think most of it's fact. I think it's everybody's opinion, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and it stinks. But that doesn't mean they can't have it. That doesn't mean they can't express them. That doesn't mean they can't make a song about it.
Everybody's got one, and it stinks. He's a decent lawyer, dude.
It's just about freedom of speech. But let's talk about what it's also about. It's also about music. Not all music is tasteful. Not everybody likes all music. There's some songs I hate. I think we can find plenty of people that find songs they do not like.
To be fair, when I see him, I feel like he would be uncomfortable saying wet ass pussy.
But Mr. Foreman, Joe is a rapper and comedian. It's what he's done his whole life is rap, make songs. We got to think of what rap is, because Music does not exist in a vacuum. Music evolves over time. Take a look at jazz. It's evolved. At one time, it was...
Thank you. I take care of it.
And it has now expanded. Rap is the same. Rap started out...
I'm going to go to a professional and get my beard trimmed, I think. It's getting too wide and bushy, and I'm not great at it. I know you were talking about his beard, but it made me think about my beard.
To express social commentary, opinions through entertainment. Look at the song by NWA. Or they call it...
What's NWA stand for?
Police. I think I said that right. It's a social commentary. Or they call it Fuck the Police. I think I said that right. It's a social commentary on what was going on in their lives. Their personal effect, the personal things happening to them, combined with entertainment, which unfortunately is exaggeration.
Yeah, every other time he's wanted to say the word pussy. Yeah, instead he's saying you're whispering I.
Opinion.
My lady.
In that song. It's a commentary on society. And so when you look at rap, you see that over and over again. I had my secretary, I know that.
And just with alibis.
Nothing in that song. Nothing.
Hey, I know nothing about anything in that song. I could not describe it to you. I could not, think about the taste or the feel. I've never had it dripping down my beard and onto my chest.
Talking about is true.
Did something go down? What happened? Did you guys lose part of the stream? No. YouTube's up. What happened? Did something happen on Twitch? Oh, it says I have an unstable Twitch connection. What? Huh. Weird.
I know it's.
But YouTube doesn't seem to be having any issues, I don't think.
Miss Grooms testified even her students knew that at a young age. The same thing I knew when I was watching Johnny Carson, The Late Night Show, and SNL, Saturday Night Live, with my grandfather when I was a kid. That's all entertainment. They make fun of everybody for entertainment. And some of it is a social commentary.
He calls her Megan Three Stallion.
But
like Andre 3000.
Nobody looks at Lil Wayne's song Pussy Monster and says there's a monster in that song. Everybody.
Oh, you missed it. No, there's a monster in there's a monster in that pussy. Damn it. Can I hire this lawyer and force him to rap Ghetto Vet by Ice Cube in its entirety? Probably. Like a monologue, almost like opera. That's what I do.
Exaggeration for entertainment. Is he commenting on something? Sure. But it's not fact. And I can keep going.
Thank you for the donation.
Megan Three Stallion with sex talk. I mean.
It's right, Fell Runner.
They use derogatory language. It's designed to entertain.
They just have the lawyers come up and they do a girth and length measurement, and whoever wins, wins.
Drew Hastings, former mayor of Hillsborough, was a comedian. I got to go to one of his stand-ups. Some of it was funny, some of it wasn't. Some of his jokes, like those of Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, some of them are not tasteful, but they're still jokes. They're not facts. And we know that. That's what a reasonable person listening to that would understand. And that's the point. This is not a vacuum. We don't live in a vacuum. Let's face it, if we lived in a vacuum, we'd all be dead because we couldn't breathe. So we live in a world full of everything.
Not the greatest line there.
Things. We watch SNL.
We don't live in a vacuum because we'd be dead. And the cat would constantly be running from us because they're scared of vacuums.
We know it's entertainment. We know it's going to pick on people.
He must have an older jury pool. When he brought out Richard Pryor,
understand that
if Gen Alpha kids would be like, who?
Picking on public officials. No. They picked on Joe. They pick on Donald Trump all the time, Sleepy Joe. I mean, go down the list. Even Teflon Ron was made fun of. So as you
Teflon Ron? I thought it was Teflon Don. Right? John Gotti?
go back, nobody thinks that's fact. Nobody's going to take it that way. When they post their clips on YouTube, when they post their clips on Facebook, people don't look at it and go, that's the truth. No, they understand it's comedy. They understand they're going to talk about it going forward. And if you look at his posts, you see...
That's true. How much water will it displace? That makes sense.
Little signs.
Get a gigantic, like, graduated cylinder, but like the size of like an Igloo sports cooler.
That too. Iteration. Things that you see in a song. I mean, because after all...
Then you put a sensor in the water that has like capacitive resistance. So if chin touches the water, disqualified. It's only beard. If any skin goes in the water, disqualified. I think I'm getting the ground rules laid out here. Had to start a league.
You know, a song's catchy, right? It has beat, song, you know, words rhyme. You know, she thinks my tractor's sexy, and, you know, sticks with you. And we listen to Lemon Pound Cake. You heard the iteration.
On. Now it's back. What the fuck is happening, dude? I saw it go down that time. I am not on my VPN, which fucks it up or whatever. Is it my internet provider, you think? I know they've been working on it, but damn. Mossad, at least.
Understanding of Joe, of your understanding of rap music, music in general. I'm not going to sit here and say that these 7 people were happy about what happened to them. I'm not going to say that. That'd be stupid. But what
The last time I talked to Ben, he said it wouldn't happen again.
I'm going to say is, they are public officials. We see it on the news.
Mossad hates Afro Man.
For Lisa Phillips, folks, I'm asking you to put $1.5 million in that verdict form.
You know this thirsty motherfucker that can't afford that fucking hair plugs went hunting these cops down. He probably thought they would settle. He's asking for $1.5 million because in a song it was insinuated that she was a lesbian. I saw it that time. My bit rate went down to 0. I'll keep an eye on it. Sorry, guys.
$1.5 million for Lisa Phillips from what she's been through for 3.5 years. Maybe
all they had to do is roll with it. Apologize, say it was a mistake, you know, somebody fucked up counting the money or whatever. But yeah, I'm the Lisa from there. Yeah, I've got a deep voice. I've had it my whole life. You know, you roll with it. When you go, it's like a river, okay? It's like a river. You just ride that motherfucker till you can get out. You're not going to paddle up the fucking gorge, right? It's not happening.
Going through for who knows how long. For Brian Newland, I'm asking you to issue a verdict for $1 million.
It's him with all his pound cakes.
Family, the loss of his dream job here in Adams County. For Randy Walters, I'm asking you for a verdict of $1 million for what he's been through with the allegations and vile videos about his wife. For the other 4 plaintiffs, Sean Grooms, Sean Cooley, Justin Cooley, and Mike Estep, I'm asking you for a total, for all 4 of them, of $400,000 divided among them however you see fit based on...
Asking for $3.9 million total. 1.5 just for the one that he's like, he called him Lick 'em Low Lisa.
You, of course, can award less, you can issue a verdict for more.
The only thing I hate about YouTube disconnecting is it really does fuck with. I have to do a part 2 video, like a second part video, and then none of the viewers ever come back. Not that I have a shit ton, but like no one ever sees the part 2 video and comes back and gets the notification or whatever.
That's what I'm asking you.
At least Twitch, you just sit here till the video comes back.
Say in your.
I wish YouTube had like a time, like if you shut down one video, maybe for the next like 3 minutes or something, if you went live again, it just added it on, but it doesn't. It makes a new video every time.
Reform based on this testimony. For Lisa Phillips, folks, you're all here now in this.
Render a verdict of money.
For a reason.
I don't think their lawyer was very good.
There's a power higher than us that brought you here today to do this job, and that you are the chosen people to do it. Nobody else is going to do it. This is the day to decide whether Mr. Foreman gets away with what he's done and whether these plaintiffs deserve something to make up for what they've been through, and whether the community is told.
That's right.
That what he
like falling out of a moving car, hit the road and roll with it.
Did is unacceptable. It's not okay. We talked about different kinds of damages. There's not going to be economic damages in this case. There's no doctor bills. There's no.
Oh, wait. I think I found a setting that will help me. If I turn off the auto stop, I'll have to remember to come stop the stream when I'm done. Right? But I bet you would let me come back. If we get disconnected. Let me try that.
There's damage to reputation.
Hopefully we don't have any more issues.
Public humiliation. There's everything you saw and heard from these detectives of money that somehow.
Render a verdict of money.
Is to render a verdict of money that somehow stands in, somehow represents.
He should have fired up a beat or brought a DJ in, right? And been like, I don't even know the beat. I'm going to freestyle it.
The harm that these.
All right, let's keep going. I'm going to lose everybody here.
Is there anything that could change your mind about what you're doing to these deputies?
Is there anything that can change my mind about the fact that they shouldn't have been in my house in the first place?
We watched that yesterday.
And all right, so let's just play it and see what happens. Thank you.
I pay taxes. I work daily. I get ready by Beto Bailey. Randy Walters, private eye. I used to fight Johnny Snell.
So, Randy Walters, private pile. I fucked his wife, doggy style. Then it shows 2 dogs fucking. Now, listen when they ask this guy. Listen when they ask this guy if the lawyer says, so he insinuated he fucked your wife. And the guy's like, yeah. And he's like, but we all know that to be not true. And the guy's like, I don't know. And he's like, you don't know if your wife is sleeping with Mr. Afro Man?
Could you see anywhere on there the date on this video?
It says 3 years ago, 727K on the views.
Now, we have 3 other exhibits that show the same clip on different platforms and dates. Is that
Texas, I work daily. I get ready by Beto Bailey. Randy Walters, private eye. I used to fight Johnny Snell.
All right. Now, do we know when that one was posted? Can we see that?
It says down below October 24th, 2022.
I work daily. I get ready by Beto Bailey. Randy Walters, private eye. I used to fight Johnny Snell.
Is this the same video right here? It's still up? Is it
yes,
Instagram?
same one that's still up.
Instagram.
Yes. And can we look at Exhibit 26? All right.
I believe it's Facebook, August 26, 2023.
Thank you. All right. Did you become aware of these posts, Mr. Walters, at or about the time they were posted?
Yes.
How did you become aware of them?
With my personal post, I found out from my children.
Dad, are you and Mom getting a divorce? No. Why would you ask that, Billy? Well, I saw that Afro Man is fucking Mom.
And my daughter came home and advised me that she was getting messed with at school because apparently her mom is having sex with Afro Man, and since she's biracial, that must be her daddy.
is an episode of South Park in real life. We've broken down the fourth wall.
Along with being a thief.
And how did that affect you?
It's horrible. It's hard when your job that you're doing affects your family, which affects you. When you have a kid come home crying that's already been through a life, and now they're getting hazed.
I'll be honest with you. If I was Afro Man, I would apologize to the kids, but fuck your parents. That's exactly what I'd say. I'm sorry if you're getting bullied at school. I'll make a video saying it has nothing to do with you, but I don't fuck with kids, right? Like, I don't go after them. I don't make fun of people's kids on the internet and shit because I got kids. That's been a line ever since I started streaming. I don't talk about people's kids. 99.9% of the time. I will make fun of like Barron Trump and shit. They're adults. Anyways. I'd apologize to the kids. I would literally say, like, hey, I'll make a video. You know, kids should be picking on you at school, but fuck your parents, okay? Fuck them.
Harassed because somebody thinks it's funny. Somebody knows it's not true. You know, my wife for 28 years.
Wait, he just said everybody knows it's not true.
She didn't have an affair with Mr. Foreman. She didn't make my daughter with Mr. Foreman. But now my family has to be harmed because of straight up 100% lies. Where in the world is it okay to make something up for fun that's damaging to others when you know for sure it's an absolute lie? That's a problem. It created a situation that was uncalled for, that was unsafe and unhealthy for the officers involved. The respect for my family, including my law enforcement family, wasn't nothing like the respect I gave to his children the night of the raid.
My law enforcement family is bullshit. You can't, the respect for my family, especially my law enforcement family, bullshit. That's people you work with, idiot.
Including my law enforcement family, wasn't nothing like the respect I gave to his children the night of the raid.
I think we all died during COVID. This is my own personal hell. You guys are stuck here with me.
I stopped what I was doing when his wife, who I know and have been friendly with for years as far as being associates, said, hey, they were next door. Somebody pulled in and they're scared. I stopped what I did, what I was doing, and went and checked on his kids to make sure they were safe, because that's a priority to me. But the same respect that was given to his family had no regard to mine or me, and that affects me.
He's not a great public speaker. Had no regard.
Because to see my family in distress because of my job is distressful to me. To have the public send you death threats over lies is distressing. And it was easy. Stop with the lies. But that wasn't enough. It's happening today. My kids came home yesterday because of new post.
Your
same
Honor,
thing.
I'm going to renew this objection again.
So let's just play it and see what happens. So
just letting him ramble. The first time I met Bam, he was wearing overalls, painter's pants, and a pink tutu, and carrying a baseball bat. And after that, Afro Man seemed incredibly well adjusted. Yeah, that does make sense. Bam's a fucking lunatic. I'll grant you that.
A couple names by Mr. Foreman. One of those being, what was it? Beetle Bailey.
Yes, sir.
Does anyone believe you're Beetle Bailey?
Probably not. That's a drawn curtain.
So you're not saying that one's serious, but other ones are? You guys know Beetle Bailey, right? He was an old comic. He might still be around. Comic, military guy. This guy, Beetle Bailey. Also covered in his own vomit. Sounds about right.
Bailey is a cartoonist in the newspaper. Sure. Been there for years. So that would be...
He also called him Gomer Pyle. Oh, shit. Sorry. He also called him Gomer Pyle, this guy. You don't say. Well, surprise, surprise, surprise. Judy.
You were called a couple names by Mr. Foreman, one of those being...
Before my time, Beetle Bailey's grandma's in the chat line, Dr. Javier.
What was it? Beetle Bailey.
Yes, sir.
Does anyone believe you're Beetle Bailey?
Probably not. That's a drawn curtain.
Beetle Bailey is a cartoonist in the newspaper.
Sure.
Been there for years. So that would be an exaggeration. Okay. And when they call you a son of a bitch, that would be an opinion?
I'd say that would be an opinion.
Okay. Because there's no way we can prove whether you're a son of a bitch or not.
Yeah, she's been dead.
Dr. Javier orders her salad Caesar because she was good friends with Julius, okay? In here saying, before my time. Okay.
For years.
I'm sorry about your mother. Man. But you would agree, though, that when someone calls someone a son of a bitch, it's not necessarily a statement of fact. It's more a statement of opinion or a description of a person.
What's he say?
Okay. Because there's no way we can prove whether you're a son of a bitch or not.
Yeah, she's been dead for years.
I'm sorry.
Way to kill the mood, dude. there's no way to know if you're a son of a bitch or not. No, she's been dead for years. You know that doesn't actually have anything to do with your mother, right? No one's going to exhume her corpse and be like, oh, yep, she tests positive for the bitch gene. I'm just joking. Javier is young, virile, and smoking hot. I will attest to that. 100% under oath. Give me a Bible, I'll swear on it.
She's been dead for years.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about your mother. But you would agree, though, that when someone calls someone a son of a bitch, it's not necessarily a statement of fact. It's more a statement of opinion or a description of a person.
Sure.
Okay.
It gets better.
Same thing with being called, I think it's Gomer Pyle.
Yes.
No one would think you're Gomer Pyle from the movie.
Obviously, that's a character in a movie.
Yeah. But you're not that person.
No.
This may sound stupid, but you've been a law enforcement officer for a long time, correct?
Yes.
You've been called many derogatory names, correct?
Over the years, yes.
You've been called a son of a bitch before, correct?
Not published, but yes.
Okay. You've been called other things even worse, correct?
I'm sure over the years I've been called many things.
It would be fair to say that during those years, people probably said bad things about you and your family also.
You know, I honestly can't remember bad things being said to me.
Lies. Fuck your mother, you know. Fuck you, son of a bitch. That's stuff about your family, right? Your wife's probably not satisfied. You're going to go home and beat her?
My family, but I can remember bad things being done to them.
So you're solely being painted in a false light due to Mr. Walters saying he had sex with your wife.
So he got the names mixed up right here. He's Mr. Walters. He meant Mr. Foreman.
So you're solely being painted in a false light due to Mr. Walters saying he had sex with your wife.
Mr. Walters does have sex with his wife. Mr. Foreman doesn't.
Good catch on that.
Mr. Walters does have sex with his wife. Mr. Foreman doesn't. Mic drop. He thought that was his mic drop moment, but he's going to fumble right here. They gave it to him, right? We're on the 1 yard line. Handed it off, right? Stick it right in his gut. He comes in right in the bread basket, and he fucking trips over his own shoelace.
Yeah.
So,
me and my wife have sex 4 times a day. Write that down. Put that in an official record right now. Want everybody to know. Also, I've never seen another man's butthole. I don't know why I need that in there. I just need it.
You're claiming that is the defamation statement, is that he said he had sex with your wife?
Yes.
Okay. And that's painted you in a false light?
It's caused tremendous pain in my life.
I'll get to that. We have to go through false light first. So does it paint you in a false light?
Yes, that my wife is cheating on me with Mr. Foreman.
But we all know that's not true, correct?
Here it is, buddy. Here's your chance to prove that you satisfy your wife and that she hasn't had sex with Afro Man. We all know that's not true, correct? I don't know. What? Is it your testimony today that you're in doubt of whether or not your wife fucked Afro Man?
No, that's not true, correct?
I don't know.
Oh, he goes down just shy of the end zone. Even the lawyer's like, what? Let me flip through some pages here. So it's your testimony today that maybe she was riding his cock. Is that what you're saying to me, sir?
Wait, you don't know if your wife's cheating on you or not?
Wait, you don't know? Like, you came to court to claim that he said something false about fucking your wife, and you don't know if he fucked your wife or not? Should we get her in here? Can we do a pelvic exam? What do we got to do here? Get in the stirrups.
You want to go there?
No, I just want to ask that question.
So now he's mad. Now he's mad. He literally said, do we? Do we know that? Now he's mad. You want to go there? We've been together since 8th grade. I swear that's what he's... Watch.
I've been with that woman since middle school.
I know.
I would hope she wouldn't. But you know what? Once somebody puts it out there for their fun and entertainment, it's out there. and it's a problem.
So it's something we cannot verify the truth of?
Give them the silent treatment?
Thing that can be verified, true or false?
Ask your client.
Ask Afro Man. Was he dicking her down or not? I want to know. In fact, I want a chair in the corner just to see if it happens or not next time. That's what I want.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask for a directed to direct the witness to answer the question, yes or no, please.
You don't like his answer doesn't mean he didn't answer.
By the way, the judge did seem kind of biased. A lot of people in the chat are like, the judge is biased. Like, you can ask a yes or no question and ask for a directive to answer simple yes or no. Like, you've seen them in Congress when they're asking a yes or no question. They go off on a tangent saying, well, Mr. President is the only person that can decide, blah, blah, blah. But did you say that? That was during the blah, 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 blah. They give all this. You can ask the judge, if you're asking a yes or no question, to ask the witness, to the best of their knowledge, to answer yes or no to the yes or no question. The judge is like, you just didn't like his answer.
To direct the witness to answer the question, yes or no, please.
You don't like his answer doesn't mean he didn't answer.
$10. Afro Man should have gone full player haters ball from Chappelle's show. Now, excuse me, I have to go put water in Buck Nasty's mama did. Oh.
He didn't answer the question. He's told me to ask another person. That is not an answer to the question.
So ask him another question.
Okay.
That was his answer. You didn't like how it came out, but it was his answer. They can't make him say something else. You can ask him another question.
Thank you for the donation, by the way.
And so are you claiming that Mr. Foreman saying he had sex with your wife is a private fact about your life?
Is that a private fact you'd rather not discuss here?
Private fact about your life?
Every clip just keeps getting better.
My family is a private part of my life.
About your wife?
Him having an affair with my wife would definitely be a private part of my life if that was occurring.
To the best of your knowledge,
so you're solely
is it occurring?
Painted in a false light.
Dude, this dude fucking died on the stand, bro.
Mr. Cooley, sorry. Sean, you were called Officer Pound Cake?
Multiple times.
You
received hundreds of pound cakes at work from different people.
Okay.
I received hundreds of lemon pound cakes at work from different people across the. That's how the internet comes together. Okay, this guy gets labeled Officer Pound Cake. Then the good and godly people of the United States of Al Gore send this man millions of pound cakes.
And the context of that name comes from a music video that Mr. Foreman created, correct?
I don't know where he got it at, but you'd have to ask him that question.
Okay. Well, I'm going to play what's marked Defense Exhibit D.
They mailed him pound cake.
I can watch this.
Okay.
They play it in front of him. That's the only one I got copyright struck for.
So stop it there. So you've seen Exhibit D, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You would admit that you with the glasses walking by the lemon pound cake on the counter?
Yes.
And that is security footage from the search of Mr. Foreman's residence?
I assume yes.
But there's no question that you during the search?
Yes.
There is question?
No, that was me, yes. Absolutely.
Mr. Cooley,
that was me. I fucking that lemon pound cake.
Mr. Foreman called you a hunchback?
Yes.
Of Norman Dang.
And specifically compared you to Quasimodo?
Yes.
The Disney hero?
I'm assuming that's who it is.
Quasimodo from the Disney movie, The Hunchback of Notre Dame?
I've never watched it.
I think it's Norman Dang, sir. That was his when he was being deposed by the lawyers. He thought it was called The Hunchback of Norman Dang. The Hunchback named Norman Dang, D-A-N-G, like Johnny Dang, but Norman, his lesser-known brother.
So I don't know.
That was the woman I showed earlier. that was talking about wet ass pussy, that was Afro Man's only fucking witness, by the way.
I agree that when a person says that someone's a crooked defense attorney, they're not meaning that I'm like a vine. They're meaning that as a opinion, correct?
Correct.
Would you agree that when someone calls you a thief, it might be an opinion of theirs?
Can be, yeah.
Well, there's the whole case right there. This dude just, there's the whole case. When someone calls you a thief, would you say that could be an opinion of theirs? Right? Maybe you didn't technically steal anything from them. Maybe they think that you're that type of person that would steal or do other nefarious things.
When people say crooked cops, it's just an opinion?
Yeah.
And so is your entire claim for false light that you were called a thief?
Yes.
And you would agree that Mr. Foreman is an artist, subject to exaggeration?
I guess so, yeah.
And just
this guy had no prep. Dude, you're giving up the whole case, bro.
For the sake of question, nobody would ever think you're Quasimodo from the book, correct?
I don't guess. Then, people think different things.
A man of few words. I don't guess. People do think different things. People are entitled to different opinions, I don't guess. I don't know. What do you think?
Is it true that Mr. Foreman called you a hunchback?
Yes.
Fucking Boomhauer.
You've been an officer for a very long time, over 21 years.
Actually, 24 full-time.
All right, we're back to the theft. I'll drop Afro Man. It's gonna take over the show again. Afro Man is a national treasure and should be treated as such. I think we should start saluting him when we see him. That's what I think. That's where I'm at with this. So there you go. Afro Man, everybody.
The power of Christ compels you to give little Bert a little kiss.
We had this happen.
What in the?
Yo, look at that! It's tearing apart.
No way. Wait for it.
People were trying to claim it was a ballistic missile, it was an intercontinental missile, it was a fucking cruise missile. Turns out it was an asteroid, I guess a meteor now, but that broke up. I don't know where this smoke, I think somebody made this smoke trail up. It's a wild looking smoke trail, but whatever.
Whoa, windows just shook.
What in the?
There's no trail like that, the zigzag trail.
Tearing apart.
Or maybe they got it from a weird angle, I don't know.
No way.
It's a weird smoke trail. Boom. They said they could feel it from like 3 different states. So yeah, Afro Man did win. I forgot to say that. Oh no, I said it earlier, but he did win his case. So there you go.
Whoa, windows just
3 different states could have heard the boom. It shook. It was loud enough. NASA confirmed it was loud enough to rattle windows, to maybe you feel shaking in your home. It's pretty crazy. The meteorite particles that will be left are going to be fucking minuscule, but they're worth money. So there you go. We can close that one. I played it. We're done with Trump being owned. We're done with Beetle Bailey for sure. That's what I was watching Destiny earlier. That's Lemon Pound Cake. Can't play that one. That was a copyright strike for sure. 100%. All right. Let's go into Tulsi. No. Hold on. Let's go here. Pete Sessions is making the claim with his full fucking chest that if Marines are put... I showed you guys Karg Island, right? We talked about Karg Island, where the Iran loads its all its oil from because the tankers can get there. Pete Sessions is arguing that if we put Marines on the grounds, in their boots, on the grounds, on Karg Island, in their boots, on the ground, that would not be considered boots on the grounds in Iran. You heard it. P. Sessions claiming boots on the ground is literally not boots on the ground. Should President Trump send U.S. forces to Iran's Karg Island, it wouldn't count as boots on the ground in the country. Rep. Pete Sessions, Republican for Texas, argued Tuesday. I don't know if it's in this video or not. That's John Thune. No. Okay. Trump is mulling sending troops to secure the island, which handles roughly 90% of Iran's crude oil export. Following strikes that targeted military infrastructure but left the oil infrastructure intact, about 2,500 U.S. Marines are being deployed to the region amid U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. By the way, they struck oil infrastructure today. Not storage, not transportation, not pipeline, but the actual thing that brings oil out of the grounds in a gigantic fucking oil fields, okay? That's different than striking. Pipelines can be rebuilt. There's a big difference in that. And Iran has now vowed that they're going after oil infrastructure. These 2,500 Marines, the Marine Expeditionary Force, MU, would be to probably secure the island, Sessions said on CNN. The island is not, in my opinion, boots on the ground in combat circumstances. It would be to secure the facility. We're going to find a clip of this. Hold on. If you said it on CNN, I'm finding it.
Iran. The president is moving about 2,500 Marines to the region. Are you okay with putting those troops on the ground?
I actually spoke to some media last night, and I indicated that I believe that what these 2,500 Marines of the Marine Expeditionary Force would be to probably secure the island. The island is not, in my opinion, boots on the ground in combat circumstances.
It is a territory. It is Iran.
Facility.
By the way, they have soldiers there. The IRGC has a base there. They have civilians there. They have oil infrastructure there. They have an airstrip there. This 100% would be boots on the ground. The same way as if, like, imagine saying when they were island hopping in World War II to get to Japan, that being on the islands was not boots on the ground in Japan.
Well, I'm not going to argue that point. As a matter of fact, you're right. But what I would say is the president's chosen not to obliterate the ability that to get oil, and I think he wants to go secure that to make sure the Iranians don't do themselves in. So I think it's probably wisdom. Is that boots on the ground? No, not like inside Iran where they're in the cities, to where we go through circumstances that we've had in the past of large areas of population, combatants against us, and it is a mess. I am against what I call the mess, moving people, Marines, snipers into population areas. But
there's population on Carg Island, right? There's a whole there's an airstrip up in the northeast corner. Then there's a whole area of just civilian houses, right? Then there's a few key military installations. Then there's storage facilities, and there's military installations all around the border. There are civilians that, I mean, they'd be putting them on an island, sure, but that's still boots on the ground. How can you not be boots on the ground?
Iran. The president is moving about 2,500.
Fucking idiot. Then Tulsi Gabbard appears in front of Congress because not long ago she was saying that based on the intelligence that they could provide, right? She's a DNI, Director of National Intelligence, that Iran, their nuclear capabilities had been completely obliterated. Remember that? From the first bombing. Now she's back saying, oh yeah, we did say it was completely obliterated. We did say that they weren't trying to rebuild. Even though they may have had thoughts of rebuilding, they weren't rebuilding, right? They had made zero progress towards rebuilding, and they were not a threat. Only for Trump to immediately say they were an imminent nuclear threat. She gets smoked here.
So the assessment of the intelligence community is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by last summer's airstrikes.
Yes.
And the opening statement you submitted to the committee last night also stated, quote, there has been no effort since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And that's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Yes.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote. That's a statement from the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
The intelligence community assessed that Iran.
The bunker busters were used because they had anti-ship cruise missiles in hardened locations on their side of the strait. That's the 5,000-pound, their bunker buster.
Is it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
That's right. The anti-war queen. Yes, queen. No new wars. No war with Iran. Iran has no nuclear capability. They're not even close. I mean, whatever Trump just said.
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community?
Oh, by the way, while she's getting smoke, you know how Trump originally said we don't need any help, we don't want any help, stay the fuck away. He even told the UK, don't bring your ships too late. Then he went back to, oh, you guys need to now come help us, right? This should have been a joint effort from the start. Well, he's flip-flopped again. The United States has been informed that most of our NATO allies, in quotes, that they don't want to get involved with our military operation against the terrorist regime of Iran in the Middle East. This, despite the fact that almost every country strongly agreed with what we are doing, and that Iran cannot in any way, shape, or form be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Wait, I thought we didn't need them, then we needed them, now we don't need them, but they agree with everything we're doing? I'm not surprised by their action, however, because I have always considered NATO, where we spend hundreds of billions of dollars per year, protecting these same countries, not true. The only thing we spend is on our own defense, right? It's a defensive pact, not an offensive pact. To be a one-way street. We will protect them, but they will do nothing for us, in particular, in a time of need. We are the only country that has activated the Article 5, right, for a common defense, and they came to our defense. Fortunately, we have decimated Iran's military. Their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft and radar is gone, and perhaps most importantly, their leaders at virtually every level are gone, never to threaten us, our Middle Eastern allies, or the world again. Because of the fact that we had such a military success, we no longer need or desire the NATO countries' assistance. We never did. Likewise, Japan, Australia, or South Korea. In fact, speaking as President of the United States of America, by far the most powerful country anywhere in the world, we do not need the help of anyone. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President. Like literally 2 days ago, he's like, this should have been a joint effort from the start. We need you here. We need to secure the Strait of Hormuz. We will help a lot, but really you guys are going to have to do it. Now he's like, fuck it. I'm taking my shit. No, my mom says I can't play with you anymore. What the fuck is wrong with Dementia Don, dude? It's something. He's a goddamn loose cannon lunatic. Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. So when you look at this gas field, it's weird, okay? South Pars is actually in the north of the field, but it's the south to Iran, okay? North Pars is actually the south part of the field, but it's north to Qatar, or I can't remember who the other country is that owns the other part, okay? So South Pars is actually the north part of the field that Iran owns. A relatively small section of the whole has been hit. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack, and the country of Qatar was in no way, shape, or form involved with it, nor did it have any idea that it was going to happen. Unfortunately, Iran did not know this or any of the pertinent facts pertaining to the South Pars attack, and unjustifiably and unfairly attacked a portion of Qatar's LNG gas facility. No more attacks will be made by Israel pertaining to this extremely important and valuable South Pars field. They fucked up. They fucked up. Even Trump's having to apologize, and how often do we see him do this? South Pars field, unless Iran unwisely attacks a very innocent, in this case, Qatar, instance, the United States of America will, with or without the help or consent of Israel, will massively blow up the entirety of the South Pars gas field at an amount of strength and power that Iran has never seen or witnessed before. At an amount of strength and power. God damn, he's a toddler. I do not want to authorize this level of violence and destruction because of the long-term implications that it will have on the future of Iran. But if Qatar's LNG is again attacked, I will not hesitate to do so. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So now he's blaming Israel did this without even telling us. To be fair, the admin, I'm not sure I've ever heard anything Tulsi has said because, ooh. You have to take that into account. Especially if you're in a heartless bitches.
Campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote.
Thank you for the donation.
From the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
No.
The intelligence community assessed that Iran...
She cannot say no. Because why? She would have to say something the opposite of Trump. And the last time she said something the opposite of Trump, he got on the plane with her as the DNI and said she was dumb and didn't know what she was talking about. And then they had to do a whole press conference with her and that other fucking dumb bitch standing up there saying, oh, the president has full support in her.
Maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False. This is the worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national.
All the threats across the world. You came to Congress and presented every threat across the world, and you said they had no nuclear capabilities, it was obliterated, and they had made no attempts to rebuild. But she's trying to say, oh, they were thinking about rebuilding, so that was an imminent nuclear threat. So again, according to their logic, I deserve to be fucking hit with a drone and blown off the face of the earth, whether I have a nuclear weapon ready to go and I'm planning on launching it later this afternoon, or I'm thinking about, I could probably build a nuclear weapon.
Intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations. You've stated today that the intelligence community's assessment is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated and that, quote, there had been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. Was it the intelligence community's assessment that nevertheless, despite this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the president based on a volume of information that he receives.
It is precisely your responsibility.
Again, they could be mad at Iran for not conceding that they'll never try or saying that they won't, they'll stop fucking enriching uranium, whatever. But when he says we had to attack because there was an imminent nuclear threat to the U.S. and our allies, that is not the idea of they want to keep enriching uranium. It's not true. And they're arguing against themselves. She came and said they were destroyed and they had made no attempt so far to rebuild. She classified them as not a threat to the world just a few months ago. Trump says they're an imminent nuclear threat to the U.S. and our allies abroad. And that's why he had to attack in the way he did.
In this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the president based on a volume of information that he receives.
It is precisely your responsibility to determine what constitutes a threat to the United States. This is the worldwide threats hearing where, as you noted in your opening testimony, quote, you represent the IC's assessment of threats. You are here to represent the IC's assessment of threats. That's a quote from your own opening statement. And so my question is, as you're here to present the IC's assessment of threats, Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that, as the White House claimed on March 1st, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
Once again, Senator, the intelligence community has provided the inputs that make up this annual threat assessment.
You won't answer the question.
It is the nature of the imminent threat that the president has to make that determination based on a collection and volume
You're here
of
to be
information and
timely.
intelligence that he is provided with.
You're here. So the assessment of the intelligence community is.
She can't come out and say anything negative. Oh, it's the president's sole discretion to say what is an imminent threat or not. No. This report is you coming to Congress telling us what threats to be looking for across the world. You said they were no threat. A few months later, what?
That Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by last summer's airstrikes.
Yes.
In the opening statement you submitted to the committee last night also stated, quote,
oh, I'm sorry, last night. She presented it last night. I thought this was the one she did a couple months ago in front of Congress.
Since then, to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And that's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Yes.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military...
Hold on. On March 18th, 2026, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard delivered opening remarks to the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence SSCI hearing for the annual threat assessment of the U.S. intelligence community. The opening statement is delivered as below. Thank you, Chairman Cotton, Vice President Warner, and members of the committee. Good morning. I'm here today to present the 2026 Annual Threat Assessment, joined by directors of CIA, FBI, DIA, NSA. Before I continue on behalf of the intelligence community, I want to extend our thanks to General Hartman for his 37 years of service in uniform and closing out his 37 years with tremendous leadership of the NSA. This briefing is being provided in accordance with ODNI's statutory responsibility. I'd like to remind those who are watching what I am briefing here today conveys the intelligence community's assessment of the threats facing U.S. citizens, our homeland, and our interests, not my personal views or opinions. In this assessment, we're following the structural priorities that were laid out in the President's national security strategy, starting with threats to our homeland and then shifting to global risks. The defense of our homeland is of the utmost importance to the American people, and efforts by this administration have shown over the last year the results bolstering homeland defense and the security of the American people. For example, the strict enforcement of U.S. policies at the U.S.-Mexico border and regionally has served as a deterrent, drastically reducing illegal immigration. Based on Customs Border Patrol data, January 2026, monthly encounters are down 83.3% compared to January 2025. Encounters declined 79% compared to 2024. The drivers of migration are likely to continue. Potential worsening instability in countries like Cuba and Haiti risk triggering migration surges. And we're starving Cuba right now. And smugglers who have long operated as transnational criminal organizations continue to view the chaos as an opportunity to profit and will continue to look for profit from illegal immigration flows. Let's do this. Meanwhile, state actors present a risk broader in scope by seeking new capabilities in kinetic cyber warfare. The United States secure nuclear deterrent continues to ensure the safety in the homeland against strategic threats. However, the intelligence community assesses that Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, and Pakistan have been researching and developing an array of novel, advanced, and traditional missile delivery systems with nuclear and conventional payloads that put our homeland within range. The IC assesses that threats to the homeland will expand collectively to more than 16,000 missiles by 2035, blah, 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 China, Russia. The IC assesses that Iran has previously demonstrated space launch and other technology it could use to begin developing materially viable ICBM before 2035. 2035. Should Tehran attempt to pursue that capability, however, this assessment will clearly be updated as the full impact of Operation Epic Fury devastating strikes of Iran's missile production facilities, stockpiles, and launch capabilities is determined. Shifting the cyber domain is our opening statement. Sustained economic, political, and military engagement in Latin America. In the Middle East, conflict and instability will shape security, political, and economic dynamics in a variety of ways. The IC assesses that Operation Epic Fury is advancing fundamental change in the region that began with Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7, 2023, and continued the 12-day war last year, resulting in a weakening Iran and its proxies. The IC assesses that the regime in Iran appears to be intact but largely degraded due to attacks on its leadership and military capabilities. Its conventional military power projection capabilities have largely been destroyed, leaving limited options. Iran's strategic position has been significantly degraded. The U.S.-led maximum pressure campaign and snapback of European sanctions added additional pressure to an already bleak Iranian economy, resulting in mass protests earlier this year that Tehran suppressed by killing thousands of protesters. Even if the regime remains intact, the IC assesses that internal tensions are likely to increase as Iran's economy worsens. Even so, Iran and its proxies continue to attack U.S. and allied interests in the Middle East. The IC assesses that if a hostile regime survives, it will likely seek to begin a years-long effort to rebuild its military missiles and UAV force. Prior to Operation Epic Fury, the IC assesses Iran was trying to recover from the severe damage to its nuclear infrastructure sustained during the 12-day war and continued to refuse to comply with its nuclear obligations, with the IAEA refusing them access to key facilities. The IC assessment that China, Russia, North Korea, and the United States as a strategic competitor and potential adversary, Iran has long viewed the U.S. as an adversary and is engaged in active conflict with the U.S. Who brought that active conflict? Space launch. We got through that. It's wild to think that they're like, oh, they have no capabilities. Oh, Trump said they had immediate capabilities. We must attack now with Israel.
Build their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And that's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Yes.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote. That's a statement from the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained.
It looks like there's been some epic fury on those fucking craters in her cheeks.
Intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment
Operation
of the
Epstein's Fury
that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, she can't answer. She just can't do it. We're done. Trump voters in the wild.
Say something to President Trump and he was going to hear you right now. What would it be?
You are a worthless pile of
And you voted for him how many times?
3 times. That was
triple Trumper.
My bad. Apparently, I'm an idiot.
Yes, yes, you are.
With the war in Iran?
Yes, it's not our war. We should not be sending our soldiers over there to get harmed when it's not about us. It's about them. Like, why are we sticking our noses where we don't belong?
What do you think about the decision to strike Iran?
It was a great decision. I think somebody else should have done it a couple of years ago, last 3 other presidents.
Are you willing to pay higher prices at the pump if that's the cost?
Yeah,
yeah, I might as well, yeah.
Why do you think gas prices going up?
War. That's all I know.
Are you pleased with us being in Iran?
Not really. No, there should be no war.
What do you think about President Trump? How's he doing?
No comment.
Did you vote?
Yeah, I did vote for him.
Have you noticed gas prices going up lately?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Does that affect you at all?
Definitely. Absolutely. My husband, he drives diesel, so that's like $2 more.
What do you think about the U.S. decision to go into Iran?
I think we got to do what we got to do to keep this country safe. So, and if it means paying a little bit more in gas right now to keep everybody safe, then
boomers are going to retire.
That's what we got to do.
If you could say something to President Trump and he was going to hear you right.
All right, I got one for you. I think this is from 2 years old, too. Boomers, this is why nobody likes you.
Boomers are going to retire. This is real. The boomers are going to retire. Now, they don't want to. They don't want to.
Boomers are a death cult.
We'll talk about later in the show, where the boomers actually don't want the world to continue. A friend of mine sent me this border thing. This is so hilarious. Over Instagram, and was basically like, what? And she sent me this article like, are we going to have a civil war? And she goes, what an exciting time to be alive. They are giddy. at the prospect of the entire American experiment failing and the civilization going dark. Boomers are ebullient at that. They are sitting around pubs and casual restaurants, and they're sitting at country.
This clip is from 2 years ago, by the way.
Clubs, and they are actually very excited about the prospect of civilization crumbling because they are at the end of their life. The boomers never wanted their children to have better lives than they did, ever. The boomers were threatened by their children. The boomers viewed their children as obstacles to their own success and fulfillment. This is all in the book coming out. I know you don't think it's coming out. I don't care what you think. It's coming out. It'll be there in the summer. You read it on a beach. But this is all true. And the more I observe these boomers, which I have for my entire life, and I'm really keying in on it now, what I'm noticing is that they're kind of a death cult. The boomers are a death cult in the way that radical Islam is a death cult. Radical Islam doesn't really have an interest in anybody existing that isn't a devotee of what they think and what they believe. Boomers are the exact same way. They are ready to usher in the apocalypse, and they're doing it gleefully. They're holding on to all the houses and all the money. You know, we have an article here, 80% of the stock market, 80% of the stock market is owned by elderly people, boomers. They can sell it and trigger a downturn. Here we go. Your grandma.
By the way, for some reason, a lot of people in Gen X, I guess it's because they're parents, they feel the need to like defend boomers and be like, well, you know, it's their money, their house. They can do with it what they want. Eventually we'll get blah, blah. No, they won't retire. They won't pull their money out. They won't pass it along. They want to fucking die with it and keep it away from everybody else.
Is a downside risk to the stock market. How more old people owning equities could exacerbate a downturn. The boomers are holding the American economy.
I worked with a guy at the railroad that accentuated this shit so well. He had his years of service in to retire at the railroad and was so far over his years, he was losing money to work every day. Every day he came in, he was making less than he would if he fucking retired. He owned fucking he owned 50% of a car lot. He owned about 20 or so rental properties. This is outside of his income. He was losing retirement money working.
Economy hostage. They're holding it hostage, and they can at any time flood the market by selling all their stock, taking all the cash. Now, many people go, well, they're going to take it from medical emergencies, and they're going to take the cash, and whatever they're going to do with it, okay, they're going to, like, fund some nightmarish thing. It's like Pinky in the Brain with these people. Like, they're going to take the cash out of the stock market so they can build a laser to zap the world. The way that they are going on now, refusing to sell these McMansions, they will not downsize. They will not give up their jobs. Biden will not step aside. He's 80. He's an octogenarian. He's elderly. He's foaming at the mouth. He's got dementia, and he will not step aside.
Yeah, I mean, just like anything, it's not all boomers, right?
Who's that just died in office? Was it Feinstein? Mm-hmm. They die in office now, these senators and Congress. One article I read, the Pentagon, by the way, prepared a report. This is true. The Pentagon has prepared a report. Now, one of the threats, they talk about bioweapons. They're talking about COVID. It's on Drudge. This is a new thing they wrote about, how, like, you know, here's the threat.
Yeah, the guy who worked with the railroad would brag about it. Be like, I'm losing money, you know, and figure it up on the fucking napkin and be like, yeah, I could be making this, but I just like my job so much. Fuck you. Let somebody else come get that fucking job, dude.
We anticipate, okay? Here are the threats that we anticipate coming. One of the threats, okay, this is great. A new study by the Office of the Secretary of Defense provides a unique window into the views of military planners and how they see future forms of warfare. So now we know COVID, we go da-da-da-da-da, we got COVID. So here, if you go up, so I love this, okay? Additionally, listen to this. Okay. Additionally, the authors caution against the possibility of government employees replacing their natural eye lenses with artificial ones containing tiny cameras connected to micro storage devices. The small cameras could collect classified intelligence and leak it to foreign adversaries. Okay. Now, the reason that they're worried about this, by the way, go up a little bit here. They're talking about, in another intriguing scenario, seemingly inspired by the decline of Senator Dianne Feinstein, and this time set in a more distant future, the report suggests that elderly congressional leaders, desperate to retain power, this is everything I've ever said. It's in this report that the Pentagon has now just come out. The Pentagon is saying the biggest threat.
Yeah, but you can say that about any group, right? We talk about white people, we talk about black people, we talk about MAGA, we talk about fucking leftists. You could always just say some of them.
To the body politic, to the survival of our country, is not climate change. It's not, for all its other issues, immigration. It is boomers. Boomers will not relinquish power. Listen to this. This is actually really fascinating. In another intriguing scenario, seemingly inspired by the decline of Senator Dianne Feinstein, and this time set in a more distant future. And by the way, they mean like 5 years from now. The report suggests that elderly congressional leaders desperate to retain power secretly install state-of-the-art brain-computer interface devices.
That's insane, dude.
Commonly used among wealthy senior citizens in this scenario, initially helped the senators regain mobility and speech after years of clear cognitive decline. This, by the way, is the wildest report I have read in a long time. I read these things so you don't have to. I sift through them. I work hard to take these private planes. You don't think I do. Many of you don't think I do. Boomers are going to retire. This is real.
Insane, bro. There will be that technology eventually, right, to where they can talk and act and whatever, and they're fucking long dead and gone, or should have been. We keep making people live longer and longer, and I'm not sure. We may have reached a tipping point. Like this guy here.
I think they should draft 18-year-old kids and make them stay in the military.
Why? I don't think so. I don't like
so they can grow up and quit being mama babies.
There should never be a draft of any kind. It should all be free will. A draft is bullshit. No matter what country, what war, it's all bullshit. You should never force people to go fight a war that's not theirs. Donald Trump's kids should be on the front lines.
Yeah, could Barron get drafted?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you would be okay with Haley's son Roman being drafted, your grandchild?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Mitch McConnell is a goddamn vegetable, dude. He's like falling over and he just smiles a lot. He freezes up and they're like, he didn't hear the question. Say it louder. They say it louder and he's like, bubbles. And they're like, what the fuck?
Mom, would you be okay with that?
To fight for the freedom of our country? Yes. You'd want my kids going to Iran to fight a war that Donald Trump started. You'd want my kids involuntarily on the front lines. I didn't say on the front lines.
Oh, not on the front. I didn't say on the front lines. Maybe they'll be drafted to, fluff Trump's testicles. Who knows?
Volunteered for that bullshit. My kids aren't. For the freedom of our country? This country. Donald Trump. Everything this government stands for. This is an embarrassment. And the fact that you would send my kids to war is disgusting.
I think they should draft 18-year-old kids and make them.
In light of the 2 attacks that happened this week, do you think Trump's war with Iran is making Americans safer?
No, I don't. And but some of these people that have come across the border when Biden opened it up are here. They've been quiet.
None of those people that I mentioned had crossed any borders. They were here, American citizens.
Okay, guess what? There's going to be more. And I really feel they're all just being very quiet. There's been what?
And those people will be illegals.
This week, there's going to be one big kaboom. And that's the one like a 9/11 again. There's going to be another big kaboom. So I am very afraid for where you live, Chad, where Haley lives. If you live close to a military base, I would not.
Because Biden let them all in.
Go to any big functions anymore. I mean, Dad and I don't anyway, but I wouldn't go into stadiums with 50,000, 100,000 people anymore. They're going to get us. They have already.
I don't think they leave their house anymore, really.
Intercepted,
Apparently he did. Apparently Bob did serve.
Waves, what do you call it?
In the Air
They've
Force,
intercepted
I think.
some of that, saying they're going to get us again.
But you're saying all these things like, oh, they're going to do a big one, a big boom, or whatever you're saying.
Oh, we never went back to the number station, did we? Oh, shit. So no one knows what this is. Basically, right before the attack that happened in Iran, so you guys know what a number station is, right? So a number station is like, it's a radio station that broadcasts on radio frequencies and anybody can listen to it. But if you don't have like a decoder to use it, we used them a lot in the Cold War. If you don't have the decoder, it's almost impossible to figure out what was said. Okay. It is a radio station that'll broadcast numbers or random words and certain keywords, and it'll broadcast all the time, right? On loop, or maybe it broadcasts certain times of the day, but the radio station, the frequency is always there. And to listen from 2 p.m. to 2:10 p.m. In your whatever time zone. And there'll be like random words or numbers or maybe sentences that have code words in them. But unless you have a key to it, which is updated and destroyed usually with a day or daily, you have no idea what they're saying. So right around the Iran war kicking off, a number station in Europe started broadcasting. And we have no idea if it was Americans activating people that were in Iran giving us intel, or if it was Iranians activating fucking sleeper cells. But the FBI did send out a warning that said to all local police departments, that basically said, hey, we have reason to believe that, foreign intelligence has sent out messaging to potential groups and blah, blah, blah. It was crazy. That's actual audio from this station. So we use this to like check in with our agents or give them missions or whatever during the Cold War, right? It was broadcasting just random gibberish to anybody who didn't have the key. But if you have the key, you know exactly what they're saying. And we still don't know who the fuck did it.
Listen to this.
747-951.
On the first day of the U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran, something strange appeared on the airwaves. A mysterious shortwave radio broadcast. A man's voice calmly reading random number sequences in Persian. Radio enthusiasts first picked it up on February 28th, the first day of the war. The broadcast follows a loose pattern, a string of...
And it literally started exactly the first day the war kicked off. And again, the FBI issued this warning saying that, there may have been foreign messages sent to potential people in the U.S., advising them on what to do.
Read aloud for 2 rounds, then a pause, then the Persian word for attention, repeated 3 times, then the numbers start again. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. No one knows exactly where the signal is coming from, but radio enthusiasts have narrowed it down to somewhere in Western Europe. 5 days into the war, things got even stranger. Someone started jamming the signal. Electronic noise suddenly flooded the frequency.
5 days into the war, somebody's jamming it. You can still catch some of it, but it's being actively jammed.
Making the numbers nearly impossible to hear. But the broadcast didn't stop. It just moved to a different frequency. RFERL...
And they moved frequency. So it's not like a pre-recorded, pre-set up thing. They changed frequencies.
On March 10th, meaning it has been broadcasting around 2 weeks, more or less daily. So what is it? The most common explanation is something called a number station, an old-school Cold War spy tool, a shortwave radio broadcast used to send encrypted messages to intelligence agents around the world. Anyone can listen to the numbers, but without the decoder, the
By the way, anybody that says we've decoded the message is lying. They're just lying. I know there's going to be a bunch of clickbait saying, we decoded, we know what they're saying, we know what was happening, they were activating it. They're lying. Without the other end of the cipher, it's impossible to decode. And that would be updated daily. Like they'll rip one up, throw it away, or weekly, or monthly, or every time you listen to it. Or maybe in the code tells you which decoder to use. Like maybe the first 3 digits or the last 3 digits or something. Tells you to use this decoder with this Julian calendar date. You never know.
message is essentially impossible to understand. Agent Fernandez, who's considered a guru on the subject of number stations, says it's absolutely unbreakable. The number keys are perfectly random, and figuring it out mathematically wouldn't really work either. And even if you translate them into words, the message would likely still make no sense without the right decoder key. Okay, that's the first thing. What about the jamming? Who's jamming the signal and why? So the kind of interference being used here is called a bubble jammer. Basically, it drowns out the signal so the transmission is impossible to understand. Historically, this kind of jamming was used by governments trying to block foreign broadcasts. During the Cold War, Soviet bloc countries regularly jammed broadcasts from the BBC, Deutsche Welle, or Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, which were beaming uncensored news and information into the Eastern Bloc. These days, the Persian language broadcasts, the BBC, and Radio Free Europe's Radio Farda are also being jammed by the Iranian government on a similar frequency. So if Tehran was responsible for this mysterious Persian number signal, it's pretty unlikely that Tehran will be jamming its own signal. That brings us back to the original question. Who's behind the number station broadcast? Could it be the United States sending coded messages to agents inside Iran? Or maybe it's Israel? Or how about...
I like stuff like this, like spy, crazy, who did it, you know, kind of deal. I would say that it's something Iranian, but hell, it may just be a distraction. While we're looking for that, maybe they're doing something else, you know?
Which is no fan of the Iranian government. Then it gets even muddier. ABC News reports that the U.S. government had sent an alert to law enforcement agencies about an intercepted encrypted transmission.
An intercepted encrypted transmission.
The transmission could, quote, be intended to activate or provide instructions to pre-position sleeper assets operating outside the originating country.
Operating outside the originating country. So they're sending it to local law enforcement, to potential sleeper agents operating outside the originating country. The originating country is Iran or wherever they're at in Eastern Europe.
Provide instructions to pre-position sleeper assets operating outside the originating country. ABC quoted the alert as saying, the CIA did not respond to requests for comment. So for now, the signal remains a mystery. What do you
That's pretty interesting, I think. That was from Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, which Trump's defunding, but whatever. Let's go to. I forgot forgot to cover that.
That you can almost play back to Trump now, and that is Donald Trump. There's a sort of phrase that Trump used with Zelensky that you can almost play back to Trump now, and that is Donald Trump, you've got no cards. The Strait of Hormuz is effectively blocked. If Donald Trump wants to unblock it, it's not going to take a few ships from Denmark or the UK or France. It's going to take ground troops that are going to be needed to go there in their thousands. What a trap is being set for Donald Trump, and he's got no.
You would probably have to control like a couple 100 miles or something of both seaboards.
Way out of this now. He either surrenders and allows the Strait of Hormuz to remain shut, in which case this is an epic fail and the regime is in place, or you put thousands of Marines on the ground, you put swift boats into the Strait of Hormuz, and it becomes a shooting fight. And that is something that Donald Trump has wanted to avoid. And I thought there was kind of one other bit about, is Donald Trump mad, deluded? He said in this rambling news conference about that he'd spoken to the previous presidents.
Listen, I don't know why no one is telling soldiers overseas this, but I keep seeing drone footage of like our hangars and talks and centers again. Listen to me. If you know somebody overseas or know somebody that knows somebody overseas, the military has, every time you go somewhere, we never fucking use it. We always travel with it. It's part of the required packing list. We have net camouflage. Net camouflage. It is high tensile strength, braided net, tied out of fucking, twine, high strength twine, and it has net camouflage. We should have this on everything in the Middle East right now. I don't give a goddamn if it's green or it's fucking BDU or it's fucking, Marpat. I don't give a fuck. It's a net that will catch a fucking drone. It should be on every vehicle, every entrance, every exit, every fucking everything. It should be everywhere right now. Why are we not doing this? Why is no one telling our troops stationed overseas within range of these drones to put up fucking nets?
One of them said to me, "Oh yeah, we wish we could."
I spoke to one of the former presidents who I actually speak to some. I do like some.
This is a lie. They've called every fucking president's office and said, "Have you been speaking to Trump about going into Iran?" Nope, haven't talked to him.
People would be shocking. And he said, "I wish I did what you did."
Trump is the 47th president. Joe Biden is the 46th. He denies having any part and having had any conversation. Barack Obama was the 44th. He also denies having any conversation.
Not a big fan of war.
No, not a big fan of war. And says,
not a big fan of Trump.
Yeah, and then you've got the 43rd president, George W. Bush, and he says he's had no conversation. And Bill Clinton as well also denied it.
Do we think it might be Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah.
Trump was the 45th president of the United States.
He's claimed this twice, that he's talked to a former president. He can't reveal the name unless they give him permission, which we know is a lie. He fucking outs people all the time. And they said, "I wish I would have went into Iran like you did. I wish I would have. I just never did."
Well, I asked myself in the mirror. I wish you'd done it. I suppose he could have wished he'd done it in the past, but maybe this is just a sort of net result or the natural endpoint of living in fantasy land, which he does so often about so many things. That 99% of the time, because of the kind of polarization of American politics, because a good proportion of the American electorate will, or certainly the bag of base anyway, will believe whatever confected nonsense he may well believe to exist. But there are just some times, right, where confection and imagination doesn't win the day. And the Straits of Hormuz, to go back to your point, John, is either open or it's not. The oil price is either rising or it's not. He has set a trap against himself. Because the natural logic of this war now, it seems to me, is either regime change or bust. They have shown to the entire world that when push comes to shove, even though, yes, their military capabilities have been severely, severely degraded, even though, yes, thousands and thousands and thousands of rockets have poured down upon them, they've survived it. And when push comes to shove, they can unleash economic warfare on the world.
There's a sort of phrase that Trump used with Zelensky that you can almost play back to Trump now. And that is, Donald Trump, you've got no cards. The Strait of Hormuz is effectively
the pictures claiming that we bombed the paintings of planes or shadow boxes of planes on the ground is AI. Is there a chance that we hit targets that weren't there? Maybe. That happens to a lot of times when countries are relying solely on, not very good satellite data. There's a chance, right? Lots of countries end up doing that. But the photos that are going around and the claims are unsubstantiated and the photos are AI. But it is like Wile E. Coyote where fucking Roadrunner paints a tunnel and then runs through it. That's funny.
So the United States and Israel decided to strike the largest gas field in the world.
The largest gas field, LNG gas field in the world. Not the pops, not the ships, not the strait. The actual equipment that pulls the gas out of the fucking ground.
Yes. And this gas field sits right in the middle of the Persian Gulf. And this side of it is called South Pars because it goes to the southern part of Iran, even though it's actually the north side of the field. And the south side of the field is actually called the North Dome, but that's because it goes to the northern part of Qatar. This was a direct attack on oil and gas producing infrastructure, which is a huge thing. That's different than a refinery, different than a pipeline. Attacking things that produce energy are much more significant than attacking things that simply move it. Brent oil prices immediately.
By the way, Trump's already denied this and said Israel did it because they were mad about the Middle East. What? That's his actual post is he says they were mad about the way things were happening in the Middle East, so Israel did it. Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. We didn't know about it. We didn't approve it. Iran didn't know it wasn't us. So they're mad. They're gonna attack Qatar, but they better not.
Shot to about $110 a barrel. This is an escalation that actually makes the Strait of Hormuz scenario worse.
They actually just checked.
Oh shit, that was
the
my
United
bad.
States and Israel decided actually makes the Strait of Hormuz scenario worse instead of better. And now Iran has pledged to hit many oil and gas producing infrastructure sites in the region, and they will likely hit some. If Brent crude stays that high or goes
once the door was open, they're like, if you're going to hit, fucking energy producing infrastructure, we are too.
Higher, WTI will begin to follow it as traders expect the price gap between those two to stay at a certain level. And they will start buying WTI contracts, and that will bring that price up even more. Thanks. So
They actually just checked, and oil's back above $90 a barrel. And the reason why is that this release was already baked into.
By the way, you know that, you know how MAGA's whole mentality is like, oh, it doesn't affect me. I'm not an immigrant. I'm not this. I'm not over there. We're not doing this. That's what the spin Fox News is trying to put on the Strait of Hormuz right now. Hey, we drill, baby, drill. So we don't care if it's straight. If they want to open the strait, they better come do it.
The price of oil. Oil traders saw this coming.
No, and no. That conversation is about how the SPR release is not lowering oil prices. As I've said many times in the last week, when you do an exchange as an SPR release, it does not lower oil prices because it's not a thing. Bob, there are two things that determine whether an SPR release will actually lower oil prices. One of those is the type of release, whether it's a sale or an exchange. If it's an exchange, it doesn't. And the second thing is the flow rate, or the amount of oil that is released per day, as opposed to the amount of shortage you have. We have a 20 million barrel a day shortage, and we're trying to release 1.5 million barrels a day to lower prices. That's not
not gonna happen.
You see, an exchange, once again, is for when like a single refinery has some kind of supply disruption and they need some oil to get them through the month. That's what
Right. So like this, like a shipping company went down, or a pipeline or whatever went down. It'll be repaired within a month. But we can feed it. We can feed this to them really quick, and they can keep doing it. When we're talking about a war and 20% of the oil off the table because Strait of Hormuz is closed, and we don't know who's going to open it and when it's going to open. Are there mines? Is there mines? And now we're bombing fucking LNG infrastructure. This is not going to help. We should have sold all of it, or a shit ton of it, to them, not exchanged it for them.
That's what an exchange is for, a very small local problem, not a global oil disruption due to the Strait of Hormuz being closed. That is what a sale is for. That is what it's designed for. That is what the SPR is totally designed for. And that's why it's not going to work, as I have said. Thanks.
Gas prices will go down if we continue to blow them up and we start destroying their refineries, because then they can't give oil to our adversaries. And that
Gas prices go down if we blow up their oil refineries.
would increase demand for American oil in other areas.
I think you're onto something. There's literally no better way of lowering gas prices than by blowing up other countries' ability to produce oil and gas. Like, it's the perfect solution. We just blow up everything. I don't know how we didn't know this. Obviously, gas prices are highest in the United States when we're not blowing stuff up. That never occurred to me. Oh my God. Are you like a prodigy? I mean, seriously, like, have you been tested for like stuff? Carl Sagan would sit in awe of you. Wow, look at that. Look at that sunset. Thanks.
Gas prices will go down if we continue to blow them up and we start destroying their refineries, because then they can't give oil to our adversaries, and that would increase demand for American.
Idiots, dude. Idiots, idiots, idiots. All of them, idiots.
Does anybody else remember when the grocery stores would not only bag your groceries for you, but they would bring it out to your car and load it for you? Now everything is self-checkout.
That was Mr. Global's first job as a young kid. Well, it was my first real tax-paying job. I did a lot of farm work and stuff before that. I started doing that when I was 14 years old. But not only did we bag the groceries, upon request, if you were elderly or disabled or you had any kind of issue, not only would we bag your groceries, but we would ride with you back to your house and unload your groceries and put them up for you if you need.
Damn.
And it was no charge. So me, as a 14-year-old kid, I'm climbing in some, 80-year-old lady's giant Cadillac. And
now they'd get Amber alerted.
We're rolling to her house, and I literally spend an hour doing all of this and helping them. And I would get like $1 tip, but I never complained because I got to hang out with people and we would have conversations, and I wasn't stuck in that stupid grocery store. Yeah. Good times. Thanks.
Does anybody else remember when the grocery stores?
There you go. Did he work for Publix? And the liquor wing of Publix, I think, was what he was doing.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched.
God, this is so good.
And was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the.
I know we already watched it, but it's a good clip.
What this country is getting, those are the people who deserve it. Those are the people who deserve it. When the gas spikes and we're no longer in the Middle East because we were thrown out of the Middle East because Iran attacked all of our bases, we didn't defend them, and a lot of these Gulf states don't want much to do with us. When all of that happens, and when Israel's a regional power there and becoming a global power, again, this is out of Netanyahu's mouth, when all of that happens, the people that cheered this on from their backyard in Long Island without a goddamn thought as to why we were doing it, it just felt good to them. It was a way to...
Yeah, our grocery store used to be such a small town thing. There were certain people that were like homebound or whatever that they delivered to like weekly.
Own the libs.
Own the libs.
Sending troops into a Middle Eastern country. These people are all hopped up on pharmaceuticals and French vanilla coffee creamer, and they have a bloodlust that is insatiable.
Gotta own the libs.
The suburban American has a bloodlust that is absolutely insatiable. Nothing is enough for these people. Nothing is enough. We're becoming a sexless country. We're a joyless country. Our only joy.
Oh, what happened to Nancy Guthrie? Was there any updates on that?
Is in exporting violence and sitting back and watching it. It is the only thing that unites people and gets them excited. They all have a bloodlust, and they want things to blow up, and they want people to get hurt, and they don't care that we bombed a school of Iranian children. They don't care that a Tomahawk missile ripped through a school and killed 165 people, many of them between the ages of 8 and 10 years old. They don't care because many parts of this country are a moral black hole. They are a moral black hole where there is no morality. They're amoral. You say, well, maybe...
Jessa, you're part of the problem.
Have bad morals. No. They have no morals. They're a black hole. Those are the people that are cheering on what's happening right now in Iran. They cheered on what happened in Iraq. Okay, 20 years after that, everyone in this country has less money on average. People do not own homes. People still don't have health.
Under fire, Nancy Guthrie's sheriff takes more trips to the gym in his convertible than he visits his place of work as the case grinds to a halt.
People are in no better position financially than they were, except...
They're trying to recall the sheriff over it.
And those are the same people that cheered that on. They're cheering this on. And here's the president now endorsing who I believe and I called this years ago, I said Logan Paul, but it'll be Jake. But I imagine that is what will come next. That is the inevitable next move here, is this.
Got us. Trump's got us. God bless. Love you, Kentucky.
Liberals.
No,
own the liberals. God bless. God bless.
Make no mistake, we're going to get it. What this country is getting, those are the people.
They deserve every bit of it. Every fucking bit of it. Oh, I'm supposed to end early tonight. Fuck. You guys are my witnesses. I tried. Dr. J wouldn't let me.
All right, so can regime change in Iran be enacted through the air? Kind of the big question, and we're probably going to find out soon because Israel has been eliminating senior officials in Iran left and right. I mean, just the last 24 hours, they killed 3 senior officials that I would argue are the most significant elimination since Khamenei was taken down in the opening wave of strikes. So again, this shows just how deep the Israeli penetration is of the IRGC, able to go after some of these figures,
Israeli penetration. Look out.
2+ weeks into this war. The first one is Ali Larijani, significant. He, according to Israel, acted as the regime's de facto leader. It was one of
Atsuko has to tell me that I can start the show, and Dr. Javier Banana has to tell me when I get in the show.
most veteran and senior figures within the
I'm really a slave to the mods. If you want to look at it that way.
same day, they took out Brigadier General Soleimani, who's the commander of the Iranian Basij unit for the past 6 years. Internal police force, absolutely brutal. This was the primary instrument of regime repression. In fact, it's the Basij that when you look at the 30 to 40,000 Iranian civilians that were killed during the most recent protests, the Basij has most of that blood on their hands. And then just a few hours ago, we got confirmation, not just from Israel, but also from Iran, that the Minister of Intelligence, Esmail Hatib, was killed in an Israeli strike. They say he played a significant role in directing arrests and the killing of protesters during the recent protests and during the hijab protests. They added that he led the Islamic regime's terrorist activities against Israeli and American targets worldwide. So again, 3 very senior officials. And I should note, Israel's also going after Basij checkpoints around the country. So these are police checkpoints designed to kind of screen the people and find out is anybody here providing intelligence or working with the Americans or Israelis or just anti-regime in general. We're starting to see airstrikes across the country, drone strikes, kind of smaller munitions going after these checkpoints set up on the side of streets throughout Tehran and throughout the country. So the idea there would be that this would open the door for the people to rise up and take back their country with the leadership out and now the secret police being hit left, right, and center. There's no indications right now that there has been any large-scale uprising or organization inside the country that could serve as some sort of resistance, but it does look like Israel and the United States are trying to set that stage should that happen down the road. All right, so can regime... So it looks like we're going to be going at it alone in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump's request to our allies around the world for help, military help, was essentially rejected across the board.
And then so it's like when you get fired and try to quit, or you ask somebody out and then they say no, and then you do something else. Like you're like, I was just playing, like. He's like, we don't need anybody. Okay, we need you guys to open the strait, but we'll help a lot. Oh, we never needed you. My girlfriend, I got a girlfriend. She just goes to a different school, and I never thought you were cute.
On today, so what? We don't need you. Didn't need you then. Don't need you going forward. So we've seen about a week ago, administration officials were reaching out to like everyone: China, India, Japan, South Korea, all of NATO, saying send your military vessels. Let's open the Strait of Hormuz.
He's really walked himself into a trap, and I think it should cost them the midterms. But even before Iran, they should have lost the midterms. There's no way they win it now, right? Am I crazy for thinking that? There's no fucking way.
Let's keep it secure, get that shipping back up and moving. And one by one, the responses were no. I mean, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said we are not going to be drawn into the Iran war. The German defense minister said this is not our war. Japan, Australia, and Greece, and we are not sending any military vessels. President Trump responded to that today, a little bit upset, I think. Quote, the United States has been informed by most of our NATO allies that they don't want to get involved with our military operation against the terrorist regime of Iran. We no longer need or desire the NATO countries' assistance. We never did. Likewise for Japan, Australia, or South Korea. In fact, we don't need the help of anyone. We've been so back and forth on this. We, early in the war, rejected the UK's proposal to send assistance to the Middle East. Said, nope, don't need it.
And escort.
Already won. What are you trying to do at this point? Then we went back and asked for assistance, trying to build a coalition in the middle of the war. And then when everybody said no, we said, well, we're not going to do a coalition. We're just going to do this ourselves, U.S. and Israel. Very, very challenging.
Crazy, dude.
In the middle of the conflict. Crazy. Kind of stuff you do before the bullets start flying, before the drones are being launched overhead. And right now, it looks like we got nobody. Like maybe we'll get some of the Gulf countries to contribute in escort missions. But in terms of the major militaries around the world, traditional, historic U.S. allies, to the T, they are saying, no thanks, not interested. So it looks like we're going to be going at it alone in the Strait of Hormuz. All right, so the first senior U.S. official just resigned over the war in Iran, effectively.
Oh, yeah, I've got that. Hold on. We won't be able to watch all this tonight, but when I get back from Nashville, this will probably be something we're looking into for sure.
From January of 2024. This is from this show.
This is Tucker Carlson doing the first interview with Joe Kent. Joe Kent, he's becoming a little MAGA darling and puppet before this. He's given a lot to this country, okay? Including the wife and the mother of his kids was killed in Manbij on a CIA assignment by a suicide bomber, fighting the global war on terror. I don't agree with his MAGA stuff, his Trump worshiping shit or whatever, but he served a lot for this country, and so did his wife.
And this is Joe Kent, who later went on to become, until yesterday, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Here it is.
What do you think the immediate and then longer term effects of a war with Iran would be on the United States?
immediately it would be very bloody. I have no doubt that we could probably defeat some of their air defense and go in there and have another shock and awe campaign. But again, like we saw how the shock and awe campaign in Iraq really didn't actually work in the long run. So I have no doubt that we'd have some immediate results that people would
yeah, northern Syria.
Hear about here in the United States, but Iran, Persia has always been an empire. It's been around longer than any of the other players in the modern Middle East right now, and they are not going anywhere. If we get deeply involved and deeply entangled with Iran, we are playing right into China's hands, because China would like nothing more than for us to be committing our military industrial base to a war in Eastern Europe and Ukraine.
And we're stuck there.
Our conventional military power, our blood and our treasure back in the Middle East. That will make the Pacific, our actual border, extremely vulnerable to Chinese aggression, or China will simply just watch us bleed out economically as we bleed out on the battlefield on these couple different theaters. It's absolute insanity. It's opening up Pandora's box, and again, for what gain to the American people?
So the very first thing you notice about that clip, which was shot almost exactly a year before the current president was inaugurated, is that it was right. It was prescient. He called it. He called the general outline. Not that it was hard to call, but Joe Kent knows what he's talking about. He spent a lot of his life in that region, and he said, a year before this current presidency began, this is a big, serious country. It's the oldest civilization in the region, and if we went to war with Iran, there would be a momentary sugar high. Americans would support it because they support their own country, and they certainly support their military, and people would approve of it. But very quickly, you could see a process by which we got caught there, trapped there, bear trap. Hard to extricate yourself from that. And sitting on the sidelines would be our chief global competitor, China, who would be silently nodding along with a slowly spreading grin, knowing that they were the main beneficiary of what they were seeing, of our waste of American lives and treasure, as Joe Kent said. So we haven't reached that stage, thankfully. We're moving toward it, and everyone who's watching carefully knows that. And if you're honest, you know that. So this is a very serious moment we're in, and we're watching not just a war in Iran, but potentially a total realignment of the world and the loss, in some sense, of what the United States has globally. This could be the beginning of the end of our influence in a lot of the world, and that's just the beginning. So again, that's a big deal. It's starting to dawn on people, and that leaves Joe Kent as one of the relatively few people connected to this administration who said it in public. Is that good or bad? Well, it may seem good. Of course, you want to be around people who have clarity about what's going to happen next. But in practical terms, it's bad. In fact, it's always bad. Whenever you have somebody who stands up and says, don't do this, here's what could happen, and then you do it anyway, and it turns out that person was right, your first instinct is not to apologize and correct your behavior. Your first instinct is to crush the person who called it correctly. And that's your instinct because it's the lowest of all instincts, but it's a human instinct.
So if you don't know, Joe Kent resigned with this, like, I can't keep pretending like this is a good idea, that we should have went to war with Iran, that we're not just doing this for Israel, and they were some type of horrible threat to the United States. This is not America first. I will not be part of it, and resign from his position.
I think that's your instinct because his correct prediction is an indictment of you, of course.
And then Trump, of course, or MAGA, of course, is attacking him immediately. Yeah, they're just attacking him, calling him anti-Semitic, saying that he was working with Tucker Carlson. That's why Tucker Carlson's now under investigation, that they were trying to tip off Iran before the strikes happened. Like, it's crazy.
Deflect attacks on you and your own culpability by blaming the guy who told you it was going to happen before you did it. And this is a long-standing fact of human life, and in the last 60 years in this country, it has been the iron law of foreign policy, which is to say, when things go wrong, the only people who get punished are the people who criticize the adventure in the first place. You can imagine General Westmoreland.
He was the head of the National Counterterrorism Center.
Attacking Walter Cronkite of CBS News, and everything. Walter Cronkite, in my case, not much. But fundamentally, it was Walter Cronkite sitting very much on the sidelines saying, hey, this war's not going well, and there was General Westmoreland prosecuting.
No one's coming to hit the United States. That's a bunch of fear-mongering.
But General Westmoreland argued till the end of his life, in some way successfully, that he lost the war because Walter Cronkite criticized the war. Is that really true? How many troops did Walter Cronkite command? Was he in charge of strategy? Don't think so. He was a newsreader in New York. But you can see why Westmoreland did that. Why a lot of people believed it, agreed with Westmoreland. You saw the same thing happen in the days after the tragic and incredibly stupid Afghan withdrawal under Joe Biden. That didn't help the United States. Of course, we had to get out of Afghanistan, but the way we did it, who would argue that was a good thing? It was a terrible thing. It resulted in the deaths of a lot of Americans. So who was punished for that? As far as we can tell, and we checked, only one person. And that would be Colonel Stu Scheller of the United States Marine Corps. What was his crime? Planning a withdrawal from Afghanistan? Oh, no. No, Stu Scheller's crime was saying out loud, boy, that didn't work very well, and why did we do this? And for that, he went to jail. The people who actually did it, who gave the orders, or who carried them out without asking questions about them, which was everybody else, they're fine. You don't even know their names, and they certainly haven't been penalized. So there is a long history, because this is a standing feature of the way people are, that you criticize those who told the truth and who were right, who called it ahead of time. Now, in a functioning society, you got to hold yourself, and you understand that people are like this, but if you want to be successful as a society, you have to restrain that impulse, because it's low and it's counterproductive. And if you silence people who tell the truth, you end up making the same mistakes again and again and again. And maybe that's why we're here at this pivotal point in our war with Iran. So that's the first thing you notice. Joe Kent was right, therefore Joe Kent must be destroyed. And there's, of course, this ongoing effort to do that, to dismiss Joe Kent as a tool of the Islamists or a leaker, or say he's married to someone who works for Hezbollah, or lie after lie after lie, but they're all aimed at Joe Kent the man, at his motives, at his character, his personality, his wife. And that's by design, because none of them touch on his reason for resigning as director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Because if you focus on that, you have to answer his questions. You have to answer, is this true? Is what Joe Kent, who possessed highest level intelligence clearances, who was really barred from knowing no secret of the U.S. government since he was one of our top intelligence officials until yesterday? Seems like a pretty informed guy. What are you saying?
Right. Terrorist, one-off attacks, attacks that look like terrorists to get the United States citizens more behind a war in the Middle East again.
True. That's the last conversation anyone in Washington wants to have, so just attack him. And you're going to see a lot more of that. The people who said this war was a bad idea will be punished. And the more it turns out they were right, which is to say the worse this project goes, the more it becomes obviously counterproductive to American interests, the more vigorously they will be punished, unto and including jail. Stu Scheller went to jail.
All right, remember where we parked. This is what I'll cover when I'm back home. I will not be home for the weekend. We're leaving for Nashville. Wish me luck. Send me some money so I don't have to live underneath a bridge while I'm in Nashville. If you really love me, you would. I don't think you're real Bort fans unless you send me money. That's how I decide who's real and who's not real. And I'm banning everybody unless you send me a donation. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I got to go. We're leaving tomorrow around noon or so, maybe a little bit later. We'll see how that works out. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here tonight. If you want to support the show, do it at the Just Quick Tools link. Make sure you leave a message so I know who to thank for allowing me to feed my children while I'm in Nashville on the Board Express. There it is. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Shout out to the donations and new members. Thank you all for being here. We'll see everybody in the next one. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye. Legend is in charge of parking. When she forgets shit like the number stations, that's her fault. Legend's in charge. She's supposed to remember where we parked. You guys are supposed to help her remember where we parked. Okay? So when we fuck up, it's Legend. When we do good, it's me. When we fuck up, it's Legend. That's how a team works.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the
Grassroots with $105 of the donations. Thank you very much.
by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have
If you put it in chat and it didn't get my attention, does that mean you actually reminded me? No, obviously not. Right? If I say, hey, wake me up at noon, and you come in at noon and whisper, wake up. Did you really wake me up if I didn't hear you and wake up? Of course not. You are no gentleman and no scholar. You're a failure. And your lineage will rue the day that you claimed to have reminded me where we parked.
False fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping Trump's cock and begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like Thor in a thong. He strapped
Stick that in your proof and poke it or whatever. Whatever that saying is. Stick that in your smop and poke it.
Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest.
Start ruining already.
Told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up.
Nope, I have to confirm I saw it.
Here we go, I think
with my beautiful blue eyes, okay? I lied, they're brown. I thought blue sounded better.
You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself
Chat.
strapped to an F-16.
You locked in? Send me money. Duh.
He tapped me on the shoulder and said, this is gonna be.
What'd that one streamer say? If you don't have $5 to become a subscriber, then maybe you should go to work instead of watching Twitch or YouTube. Okay?
Oh, give me a. Oh my god. Damn it. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set.
It's Itsuko's whiny ass little chat voice that's not allowed to remind me multiple times of something. Or if I'm muted and anybody says it, I'll catch it eventually.
Seen nothing yet. Round 3.
I can tell Itsuko's whiny ass little fucking Asian accented voice in the way she tops.
Over, hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They be working copy on cocks that came first. 9th inning, second string, and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit, sending runs to the shitter. All this nonsense.
It's like nails on a shrimp fried rice chalkboard, okay? It is not very based.
Teaching all you fucking cretins about baby eating heathens. Believing in reason for no meaning.
I asked Itsuko if she was America first or Israel first today, and it took her over 13 minutes to respond. Wonder what she was doing. Calling her handlers? Phoning in to Tel Aviv? Was she? I don't know. It's up for you to decide.
that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
You don't have those guts because you're
I think I already know the person she's talking to in Israel, but maybe I'm wrong.
basement, and I won't even
Good
get
night, losers.
handle because that's
Look at the back of my beard. Look how glorious that is. Oh, God. It's like a fucking bear rug.